The following podcast contains strong language and alternative facts. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Heel Podcast. Over the airwaves and under the influence, we are Turning Heel.
Let's get this shindig started. Welcome to the Turning Heel Podcast, episode technically 21, but we'll explain why in a minute. I am one half of your host for this evening, the Chris. And with me as always is Chris motherfucking Hughes.
Hello!
Hello!
Did you only get away with it as always because I wasn't on the aforementioned episode?
I know,
20.
but it is just part of my saying now, and I'm not judging my fucking vocabulary. Technically, always one of you will be always in front of me. I will not
True.
be doing a podcast alone because I did try and do that one time and it didn't work out well. that was one of my own ventures that sadly very much failed.
Yeah, we've already got the name for this episode already. Technically.
Yeah. Yeah, so me and Robert earlier on this week did to record an all-in episode, but technically...
All out.
Is it? Okay,
Yes.
all out. No, actually, we actually recorded one about the first all-in. I'm kind of hoping it doesn't come out now, because then technically... I might be correct. You'll never know. We did record an all-out episode, but again, we are having technical issues. So,
And what did I say on an episode a few weeks ago?
that you're a big, dumb, smelly head.
Well, that, but also shit falls apart without me around, and then it happened.
Maybe you should be around more often.
I had things to do.
No, you didn't. You had... I don't know what you had to do.
I had to go see my parents. It's allowed, alright?
Not anymore, ain't. So, hopefully we can try and get this shindig sorted. We'll release it at some point, even though it's, it's whatever. Like, if you still want to listen to it and hear our thoughts on the Matt Hardy situation and the Mimosa Mayhem match as I drank mimosas, then it potentially might be it soon.
By the way, mimosas have become my new favourite thing.
Me too. That, like, even to the point where I made Mimosa Mayhem chili nachos the other night.
Yeah, I seen you posting that. You sent that picture. What exactly was Mimosa Mayhem chili nachos? You didn't put like orange juice in the chili, did you? And champagne.
Yeah, I poured a bit of mimosa in with my chicken and the barbecue and all that and cooked it in the juices.
Ah, right, that makes sense. I thought you just poured it into the nachos just after you'd made them.
No,
You just had it like swimming in champagne and orange juice.
this is disgusting.
I know, that's how I was like, ew.
Nothing I hate more than a soggy nacho. There's
Yep.
a joke in there somewhere.
A soggy biscuit joke.
Pretty much. That's what we play around my house. Not soggy biscuit, soggy nacho.
Ah, Chris.
You'll never have nachos at mine again.
Nope. I'll never have nachos again, period.
Yeah, so that's what it was. I like experimenting with my my nachos and cooking them in odd things. Like, I've tried cider before, tried beer. Like, I've tried bit of Jack Daniels as well.
Jack Daniels would work.
Yeah. It's just like when you see things like people cooking like chicken and cola and all that, like, so I'm like, what's this stuff will work? Doesn't really taste that much different, so... I mean, there was obviously the slight orangey tang, but I mean, you get orange chicken and all that anyway, so...
Me and Paws invented Buckfast burgers. Buckfast burgers are the pure cool thing to get now. When you go to these hipster places, you can get a Buckfast burger. Me and Paws invented it like 15 years ago, out our fucking tits in a back garden in the West End.
Do tell.
We had disposable barbecue. That's pretty much the story.
But
we just
how
pour
did-
Buckfast over the burgers and then cook them in the barbecue, steaming.
Okay. I would have thought you maybe would have cooked them in the Buckfast.
See, that probably would be the wiser way to do it, but Being paused were idiots.
But
back
obviously,
then.
because you're like, that's why I was confused when you says that you done it on the barbecue. I was like, how the fuck would you get the Buckfast on it?
all we did was like dip the burgers into Buckfast
And then just cook them.
and then cook them. Like if we thought we should have like marinated them in Buckfast for like 4 or 5 hours and then cooked them, well we kind of just dipped them in. But still though,
Now you've got me thinking of other ideas. Ooh, marinate the chicken in mimosa. Eee, interesting. Well,
well,
never,
you do get technically orange chicken is a thing.
yeah, that's why I didn't find it so weird when I threw some orange juice and champagne in the chicken, because like you get orange chicken, so it's not the weirdest thing in the world.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna get some mimosas after we're done here.
yeah, I want a mimosa.
Yeah, it's annoyingly became a pure thing. And then what about
Damn you, Jericho!
one of my pals was like, "Is this a new thing you became obsessed with?" And I was like, "Yeah, a little bit. Tried them for the first time on Saturday. Then I'm a bit addicted." But like,
Wasn't even Saturday; it was Sunday because
Yeah.
we didn't have them until the morning.
that's true actually. And then we didn't stop having them.
Yeah, we done 2 bottles of champagne.
Fuck's sake! And then went home.
Yep.
Yeah, but like that's the thing. Like because you've got like an Aldi so close to you, like it's much easier for you to get like the stuff needed. But I've been like going into all my local shops. I'm like, do you have any like cheap champagne? And they're like, no, just the expensive stuff. And it's like I'm not spending that amount of money on it.
Yeah, I know. The wee £5 bottle of champagne out of Aldi.
Yeah.
Along with, do you know what I became addicted to though? Fucking orange juice. Not just the mimosas.
Me too.
I've drank 6 litres of orange juice this week. I don't think I've drank 6 litres of orange juice, like fresh orange juice, this year. Up until this week, man. Again, damn you, Jericho!
Yeah, it's just that sometimes you get really sick of like fizzy drinks, and stuff like fruit juice just ends up being the way forward.
Well,
Especially me now, since I'm drinking a lot more vodka as well. I've been drinking a lot more orange juice.
yeah, well, see, I've always, fresh orange juice has always been my hangover fixer elixir, but I just don't buy it that much. So, usually I get it if if I was travelling to work, right, and I was hungover, I would stop at the shop and get a carton of orange juice. But obviously I'm not travelling to work anymore,
Yep.
so I never haven't had it in the flat for ages.
Yeah.
Until this week, where basically every time I go to the shop, so I'm like, orange juice.
Especially if you get the Just Juice, you get like 2 for $2.50.
Oh no, I go to Aldi or Lidl and you get the 2 litre one, the one that we got,
Yeah.
for like $1.10.
Yeah, true. But if you're in a pinch, you do have your garage next door. Nevertheless, we'll take pictures of our mimosas later and put them up on the Facebook. But before we get into this week's action, there is some news. And by news... And that is this coming Wednesday?
Yes.
NXT UK makes its return.
Oh, you mean NXT UK that it was totally done and WWE hated it and they were never going to be filming it again?
Yes, that one.
Oh, okay, yeah, I heard of it. Yep.
Okay, yeah. So that's back.
Fucking Meltzer, man. Jesus Christ.
And then not only that, but they have announced the NXT UK Heritage Cup. It's going to be an eight person elimination tournament, which is going to be contested under British rules. 7 of the 8 competitors have been announced so far, with Flash Morgan Webster, Noam Dar, Alexander Wolf, A-Kid, The Bomber, Dave Mastiff, Trent, 7, and Joseph Connors, with a wild card entrant yet to be determined, which will probably be Pete Dunne.
Or a new signing,
Or a new signing.
because I feel as if the fact that they've now started putting the indies onto the network, I think these wrestlers that are in those indie shows, although they might not have full contracts, they will have some sort of contract with WWE.
BT Gunn.
I'd love it to be BT Gunn, but I've got a funny feeling it's going to be Grado. Just by going how much they hyped that Grado match was on there.
Oh man, like fucking Grado. Grado's been on the radio constantly because of that new season of Scott Squad. Is that what it's called? Is getting filmed or has been filmed. He's been like on the radio constantly, like promoting it, and like I just heard his voice is like, "Is that fucking Grado?" And then it was Grado.
Yeah.
because they started talking about Scott Squad. Fucking hell, that is difficult to say.
Scott Squad.
Scott Squad.
Say it 3 times fast.
Scott Squad. Squad. So the British rules. The British rounds rules match are as follows. All matches consist of 6 3-minute rounds. All matches are 2 out of 3 falls. Falls can be won by pinfall, submission, or count out. Once a fall occurs, the round ends. The match ends once a wrestler has won 2 falls. In the event of a disqualification or knockout, the match instantly ends without the need of 2 falls. If all 6 rounds are completed, whomever is ahead on falls wins the match. What?
So whoever has the most falls after the 6 minutes wins the match.
Yeah, but
Or
it's
6 rounds.
2 out of 3 falls.
Yeah, so if 2 out of 3 falls occurs before the end of 6 rounds, then it finishes. If it gets to the full 6 rounds, whoever's got the most falls wins. So there might only be 1 fall up, but if they get to the end of the round, they still win. Or around the end.
Right,
Of the,
okay, you know what? Because when I read that, what I thought it was the 6 rounds and it's 2 out of 3 falls, but they're saying that every 3-minute round is a 2 out of 3 falls match.
No, the whole fight
No?
is a 2 out of 3 falls match, right?
Right, so if you win 2 falls, then you're going to win the match. So
Yes, but if you get 1 and
Uh-huh.
it gets to the end of the 6th round,
all right,
then
And the
whoever
other
has the
does-
most
right.
falls wins.
that makes sense.
It doesn't go into overtime, basically.
Right, and there will be a 20-second break between each round. Those are the Heritage Cup rules, and they will begin this Wednesday when NXT UK returns. Shall we watch?
Yes, definitely.
Sweet.
No, that means that's going to be what 6? No, not quite. 5 hours of wrestling to watch on a Thursday.
Well, we could watch NXT UK live on Wednesday.
True.
As on-
I'm forgetting it's reasonable time.
It is on our time.
Yeah, I'm
it's on
forgetting-
like
I'm
7
forgetting
p.m.
Yeah, I'm forgetting that. Fair
Well,
point.
yeah, I mean, I definitely think I'm going to try and watch this first episode like as it happens, just to because have you seen the photos of the kind of arena that they're working in?
No. Oh, I have actually, yeah, but just at the stage, I didn't see the.
It's kind of swanky.
Yeah.
You know, like probably the best they can do, considering obviously they're not going to have like fans and shit like that there. So, but they needed to obviously do something.
Yeah, agreed.
Another sadder news. Barry Scott, the voiceover man for TNA, has passed away. He's the one that goes, TNA, we are wrestling.
Oh, okay.
And also Puppet the Psycho Dwarf died.
Yes, I did see that.
I know. You know, star of Jackass. He appeared in like 1 episode. Not really a star. And then when I read that, I was like, wait, Wee Man died?
See, that's what I thought as well, when I was like, holy shit. But no, it was not.
I know, and it's like that article that I seen was like, didn't really mention wrestling. And it was just like, oh, he was a stuntman and he was in Jackass, and it was like, wait, wasn't a star of Jackass? That's like saying that I was the star of Just for Laughs because I appeared in an episode.
You were the star, Grizz.
Of course I was.
I'll have you know that I had a videotape when I was a kid called You Are the Star, and damn it, I was the star of that animated movie.
I was.
It was terrible, man. It was like a superhero movie that had like. See if anyone else had this, because I've yet to speak to someone else that was ever given one of these, but I fucking loved it. So that superhero movie, right? They just had your face like superimposed onto the cartoon.
Okay.
It was fucking quality. I loved it as I mean. I watched it like all the time. But I keep telling people about it, they're like, nah, I've never heard of that. So if anyone out there has fucking had a You Are the Star video, please hit me up on Twitter and let me know, because I need to.
Please
need
tell me
someone
you
to-
still have this video somewhere.
Probably do, to be fair. It's
Oh my god. You're aware that this needs...
Fortunately, VCRs don't exist anymore. So
That's not fortunate at all. And I reckon we could easily find somebody who has a VHS. Yeah.
yeah, VHS. Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, not VCR. VCR's the yank thing. You see it?
It's still the same thing. But
Yeah, no, but
But yes, so Puppet the Psycho Dwarf, you'll be masturbating in bins in heaven now.
Rest in pieces.
Penis? Just because that was a thing he done on early TNA pay-per-views, so that's and then that's kind of the annoyingly the only thing he was known for was, remember those early TNA like pay-per-views where things were weird and there was a midget masturbating in the bin? You'll always hear it. And that
I've
was
never heard of that before.
that was Puppet.
I have no desire to watch it.
I mean, it's not like you see it, but
I mean, there's only the one midget masturbating in the bin. If you go on Pornhub, I'm sure I could find like
thousands.
4 videos of midgets masturbating in bins.
I mean, it's I don't know. You'll be surprised.
And now being an avid Pornhub premium subscriber, I have to say it makes a difference. The rap videos probably will be there. I'm not going to look for them though.
I think you should. And then again, like take a screenshot and post it on the Facebook just to prove that you've actually done it. Nevertheless, shall we get into this week's heavy hitter segments of NXT and AEW?
We shall.
Because NXT was on Tuesday again this week. Super Tuesday 2.
No brain cells were broken coming up with that.
No.
I'm really surprised they didn't do.
Go on.
'Cause you know they've got a bit of a hard on for bringing back these like old pay-per-view names.
Yes.
I'm surprised they weren't
Taboo
doing
Tuesday.
Taboo Tuesday, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. Man, Taboo Tuesday was my fucking jam.
Yeah, or even fucking, was there not a Cyber Tuesday as well?
No, it was Cyber Sunday.
Oh, was it?
Well,
Okay,
they
fair
changed it back to be on Sunday because having a pay-per-view on a Tuesday just didn't work.
Yeah.
Because nobody fucking watched because it was on Tuesday.
Yeah. But it would have been better if they called it Taboo Tuesday. I'd have been all for that.
I know, totally.
But they didn't. They called it Super Tuesday too. Probably because the word taboo is probably taboo.
Funny that, innit?
Uh-huh. Isn't it ironic?
That is ironic. It's like rain when it's a rainy day. It's free rides when you get driven for free. Those aren't ironic.
No, they're just unfortunate.
Yeah.
By the great words of Ed Byrne. My favourite line in that joke is where he goes, "It's like 10,000 spoons, but all you need is a knife." And he's like, "What exactly do you need this knife for? To stab the bastard that keeps leaving spoons all over the place?"
It's not. Yeah, I know. It's like, why do you have that many spoons? Like even people like me that barely use a knife, I use the side of my fork to cut most of my food.
And he's like, the only way that 10,000 spoons would be ironic would be if you needed the spoon to open a tin of paint. No, sorry, a knife to open a tin of paint. But a spoon would have done it. Ironic.
Spoon would have done it.
Yeah,
Like, see, this is the thing. Side of the fork though, don't need a knife.
yeah. Knives are overrated.
Yeah. Like, there's occasional time where a knife is definitely needed, like for a steak or something like that. But most of the stuff, like, say if you have like a nice sausage dinner or something like that, like, boom, just side of your fork does the trick.
I bought a box cutter during the week, because as guys will know, I've had like 100 million boxes from lockdown piled up in my hall, so I fucking know where to put them. So I bought a box cutter to cut them all down, and I was in the shop paying for it. The girl behind the counter was like, "Do you want a receipt?" And I was like, "Yeah, better, just in case I get stopped for any reason." So I fucking post decided to random search, and I've got a
Yeah.
fucking knife on me. I need to, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was like, "Yeah, if you don't mind, just in case I get stopped." And she's like, "You won't get stopped, but there you go." I'm like, "How do you know?" And she's like, "Well, they're not allowed to touch you, so they can't fucking pat you down." I was like, "I never thought of that, actually."
I'm going to stab somebody on my way home now, just for fun.
What the COVID?
And that was the day he became a serial killer.
That was the day of my first kill.
And it wasn't my last. The
Or
fucking
was it?
Rutherglen ruffian.
Ah, the Ruggy Ripper, man.
Oh, there you go.
If I became a I'd definitely be the Ruggy Ripper.
Local man as Rutherglen Ripper. Ruggy Ripper.
Man. My dream is to appear in the Rugland Reformer just as Local Man.
I know, that's why I said.
Local Man is Ruggy Ripper. Local Man Chris Hughes caught masturbating into a bin.
Must have been in a bin. Although that would be much more. That'd be much more impressive if you were in a bin masturbating.
To be honest, man, fucking that's what I've been known for, not my killings. Mostly my own family, to be fair.
Yeah, that would be a bit more awkward.
Yeah. Anyway.
So NXT started this week with the NXT Championship on the line when Finn Balor took on Adam Cole.
Baby! I was so happy this match was on first. I came home from the pub and made something to eat, and I was like, oh, NXT's just starting. I'll stick it on and see if I can survive to the end of it.
Yeah.
To watch this match.
Mm-hmm.
And then I turned it on just as Balor was making his entrance. And at first I was like, oh, he must be cutting a promo.
Yeah. And
then Adam Cole's music hit, and I was like, holy shit, they're doing it first. And I was so happy that I texted Grizz and Robert at like 1 a.m, which I'm sure they didn't appreciate.
I think I was still awake, but I was just getting into the kind of realm of Snoozeville because I have had a fucking long week. So, these ciders are going down like a bit of a charm right now.
Yeah, like I messaged them and I was like, guys, they're doing the match first. If you're still up, you can watch it.
And I was kind of tempted for like half a minute. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to bed.
And I'm glad that happened because, as usual, I woke up in the morning. I did fall asleep before the end of the show. That was always going to happen.
Probably. Yeah.
Woke up in the morning, forgot about NXT, checked Facebook, and got it spoiled in the very first post. So I'm like, thank fuck, man.
Yeah. I know, like, that's like me right now. I've not watched SmackDown from last night, as we recording this, and like I keep seeing posts about SmackDown. It's like I keep forgetting SmackDown's on fucking Friday, and like
I was quite buzzing for SmackDown on Fridays because I'm like, that'd be good to come home for the pub and watch SmackDown.
Yeah.
But fucking a Friday, I'm shit faced. I go home for the pub, I'm full asleep straight away.
Aye, totally.
Do you know what I mean? So
like it's either like the few times where I'm off on a Friday, I'm too busy doing other things to watch SmackDown.
Yeah.
Like, because normally I'll be fucking out with you or, farting about with the family or out with somebody probably.
I might start watching it on Mondays, even if I do get shit spoiled, because I don't really have anything to watch on a Monday just now, unless there's been a pay-per-view on a Sunday. Yeah. So I might start watching it on a Monday. But
normally I watch on a Sunday because that's hangover day, and so slap SmackDown on, we'll just get that out of the way.
That's funny, because Monday's my hangover day. Because I just don't stop drinking.
Yeah,
because I have a problem.
Yeah, you do. The first step is admitting it.
Oh, sorry, I don't have a problem. What are you talking about?
The second step is denial. What is it like? Because that was a really good like Simpsons bit where it's like the first step is blah blah blah. It was the fish episode where it was like, oh, it's like then the next one's fear. It's like, Doc, you gotta help me. Then the next one is bargaining. Please, I'll give you anything. And then the next one is like, and then the next one is acceptance. Oh well, we all gotta go sometime.
Yeah, I know this the joke you're talking about, but I can't think what the episode is.
The one where he's dying with the poison fish. But I can't remember the whole bit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll take that fucking... I'm pretty sure I'm still the champion, but...
No, I think I won it on Saturday.
Okay, we'll just need to win it back at some point.
Yeah.
Jeez. I think our Simpsons championship is more illustrious than the 24/7 title.
Oh, totally. I think between me and you, we must be, 150 time champions?
Easily. Man. That's what we should start doing. We should start implementing pinfalls into it. So we roll each other up and then see the like I roll you up and it's like Frank Grimy Grimes. Right, so the basis of this match, like the first note that I did take was this was another match that got fucked by commercials. Can they not just kind of manipulate NXT to kind of have this be those what do you call it?
Commercial free.
Aye, like just for this match, and then have like Black KFC pop up in the corner like halfway through the match or something. Like, this is the one thing I hate.
It's not so much WWE though. That's the network. Like,
I
do you know
know,
what I mean? But
but
see what I liked about it though was not what I liked. It was shite. It was her as a commercials,
yeah,
but
like a
but the
lot
fact,
of them.
but the fact it was dual screen, like during the commercials, which isn't all that great because I find like see if you watch AEW, they tend to wrestle the match like they're on commercial break, so it's like just fucking show the commercials then,
I know.
because like you just get distracted by them. But what I liked in this match was they kept going. There was a few near falls and stuff like that during the commercial breaks.
Oh really?
And I was like, ooh, what if fucking it changed? And what if someone wins during the commercial and it just comes back? Like, hey! But, yeah, like, I liked that they kept the action, like, turned up to 10.
Yeah.
And it made the commercials much less distracting because it was much easier to watch it because it was still fast paced and the match was still going. Do you know what I mean?
Still skipped it, to be honest. It's just the way that it's like in this tiny little box. It's like, Jesus, I can barely fucking see NXT when it's full screen. Never mind when it's in this tiny little box in the corner and you're trying to.
It's like I say, it's not ideal,
Yeah.
but it was good that they didn't drop the tempo of the match during the commercial breaks.
And then you're also trying to sell me Popeye's chicken. It's like, I can't have that, and I want it.
The sooner there becomes a live UK feed of NXT, the better.
True, I know. Well, that's the thing. Like, I've heard and I've not looked into it myself, but apparently, see when it goes up on the network, it's meant to go up in full. That's I don't know if this is 100% accurate.
Oh no,
or
they'll
not.
do. Yeah, there won't be any commercials on the network.
So we'll get the full match on the network.
Yes.
Or will it do that weird thing where it's like, oh, we've got a commercial, and then it'll like die down and then come back?
It might do that, I don't know. But there definitely won't be any, you won't see any ads on the network.
Yeah.
Because the whole
No.
point of the network is if you pay for something, that is
That's
in
not-
lieu of advertising.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
that's not exactly what I meant, but like the question is, will it do the fade to black, oh, we're back on NXT, or will it just...
Probably because the commentators will have said, we'll be back after these commercials.
I know, but like, see if they done like the AEW style thing where like, we're...
Truthfully, right, I haven't watched... Yeah, to be fair though, they do that in AEW
you
on
said
Fight.
do.
Yeah, do. But like, I haven't watched an episode of NXT on the network since this all happened, since this started.
But yeah, me neither.
The pure reason is because the fucking UK have been screwed over big time on NXT now, because we don't get it live.
Yep.
I'm actually not even sure we get it at all. I think BT Sports pushes NXT UK as being our NXT that we get. Like, so it doesn't go up on the network for like a week afterwards either over here.
Yeah,
It's really fucking stupid.
it really is.
It's like literally the only reason I kept my network was for NXT. See, as soon as that went away,
Aye.
so did my subscription.
Aye.
But now I have a dodgy WWE network subscription that I bought for $10. So
Nice.
you know.
So the crux of this match was Adam Cole.
I mean, sorry, no, I don't. Someone else bought it for $10.
Yes. Someone called Chris. Chris
Topher.
Hughes.
Oh, it was Chris Topher.
Topher?
Chris Topher.
Chris Topher. Oh, Chris Topher.
Chris. Too far.
Aye, exactly.
Hey, wordplay. Sorry.
I feel like I said that a lot to you. So the main crux of this match was Adam Cole was working on Balor's leg. Kind of started with the figure four, kind of continue working on it throughout the match. That was the big part of the match, was Balor was really struggling from the leg injury. There was a point in the match where Balor managed to hit his sequence of moves that led to the coup de grace, which got a 2 count. And sold really well by the commentators, though, with the way that they were like, nobody is kicked out of the coup de grace, which probably isn't exactly true, but still, it is.
I can't think of an instance where they have.
It definitely is one of the more protected maneuvers, I'll give you that, but
Yeah, I mean, they probably have. I reckon Samoa Joe probably did at some point, but...
or maybe, I feel like Kevin Owens probably would have. Like when they had that match for the belt.
No, I don't think he did. I think he only hit the one coup de grace at the end of the match.
Maybe he did.
Like he kicked out a couple of like 1960s
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like, but I'm pretty sure he only hit the one $1 grand in that match.
But like this is the thing, like with Balor being, you know, around this long with as many somewhat high profile matches that he's had, like there definitely would be like somebody that's kicked out of it. Like, I mean, granted, it'll probably be one of those things of you can count on one hand how many people have like kicked out of it, but I don't know. I wouldn't say nobody.
It's certainly not happened since he came back to NXT.
Yeah, probably more what they meant. So then that kind of led into Adam Cole getting his last shot knee to the back of the head, which also got to, and you know, Cole went almost into another universe with the rage that he had there. And then to end the match, it kind of worked towards the top rope, where Finn Balor managed to hit a 1916 from the top rope and get the 1, 2, 3. Finn Balor is a 2-time NXT champion.
And the world rejoiced. By the world, I mean me in my bedroom, myself.
Pretty much.
And my pants with half a kebab hanging out my mouth.
Not saying that I'm not happy with Finn Balor being champion, but I don't know. Just for some reason, I was just really up for Adam Cole too.
See, I would have been a bit meh with Adam Cole.
Yeah, because
It's
he
too
just
soon.
lost it.
It's
I
too
know.
soon,
I
like-
completely understand that.
But like, I've been saying for ages that I've been getting quite pissed off with Finn's booking and stuff for NXT, that it never seems to win the feuds he's in and stuff like that. So I'm glad to see him finally fucking.
I mean, like, he was like the first person to beat Timothy Thatcher, so at least, I mean, obviously at the time, that didn't really mean anything, but the fact that he was the first person to beat Thatcher, which is an alright win, like, I mean, nobody's beat him since, but the kind of way, like, so they've given him that win, and he seemed to be on a sort of upward trend. But yeah, I'll give you that. Definitely his booking for this kind of past year or so that he's been back in NXT has been odd.
Yeah, totally. I think the reason it's been odd though is because they've totally dropped the ball on the Prince gimmick. Like, just that had so much potential to be like an amazing heel run, and it's kind of faded away to nothing. He's obviously still the Prince, but he's certainly not a heel anymore. Do you know what I
See,
mean?
that was the thing with that whole four-way match in general, though, was the way that all four of them were technically heels. You had Cole, Balor, Gargano, and Ciampa. Ciampa turned the week before. Gargano turned, you know, a couple of months before, when he attacked Tommaso Ciampa. Balor's been heel ever since his feud with Gargano.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. And who was the fourth? Adam Cole. Adam Cole's always been heel since his debut,
Yeah.
technically. So it was kind of one of those things of, if you really look at it, all four of them were heels going into that, and then it kind of also played in the way that the reactions of the crowd every time somebody got a pinfall, they booed. And it's like, right, we get it, they're all heels, but they're those cool heels that you have these days where people still like them.
See, but that's because the crowd is just NXT wrestlers, well,
Yeah.
like trainees.
They're told
that
to.
are just told, member and boo. He's
Yeah.
supposed to be the bad guy, and that's like,
But they're all bad guys.
yeah, that's what took away like a lot of for WWE, right? When they started doing the trainees in the crowd, like everything just felt so fucking scripted, and so it's almost like they had a fucking teleprompter saying applause, boo. Do you know what I mean?
Cheer.
Like I remember a
clap.
particular segment with Rollins on Raw, where it was just like everyone was like, "Oh, boo!
Literally-
you're a bad man, boo!
Literally-
boo."
Yeah, literally hearing the word boo. Not like the noise, but literally hearing the word. Like there's it's not much, but there's a difference.
Yeah, no,
Like there's
100%.
actually being boo, boo, and then literally going boo, boo.
Aye. It was fucking horrendous, man. It was just so bad and so fake. Like AEW absolutely knocked it out the ballpark with their setup during.
Then you
lockdown.
get these occasional people though that like they're clearly, you know, wrestlers that are there, but they go kind of off ham. Like I think it was when Drew and Ziggler had a match. They're building to that Extreme Rules match, and then he's like, the stipulation is, and then one of them just went, eye for an eye.
Aye. Yeah, that was quite funny.
So it's like, how much of a kind of leeway do they get exactly? Is the question, but I don't know. It's kind of strange how sometimes it seems so scripted, but yet sometimes they're kind of allowed to do shit like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe they got reprimanded for it. I don't know.
Yeah. The sooner fucking NXT's got some crowd, the better. Even if that's just fucking coming for the Thunderdome, like that would suit me. I'm fine with that, no problem. And I don't why it's not in the Thunderdome. I don't get either. Like, I get obviously they've got the whole Full Sail thing. It's maybe like we talked about before to do maybe a contract they've got or whatever. But it'd be so much better than the Thunderdome. The Thunderdome makes such a difference to
It really
shows now.
does.
It doesn't feel as weird anymore that there's no crowd.
Yeah.
Like, although there obviously still is no crowd, it doesn't feel like there's no crowd. Do you know
But
what I mean?
it's also the way that, like, just it being back in a stadium, like, they could have done an empty stadium and it felt a lot better. But the fact that they've went out of their way to do the Thunderdome, just, it helps it to a completely different degree. Except, you know, when you see the KKK on screens and shit like that.
Well, see all that shit? I never noticed it when I'm watching it. It's only until I see it reported somewhere that that happened.
Yeah, true. I'll give you that. I can't say I've noticed any of them at the time either.
Yeah.
Even that Fire Velveteen Dream one, which after I seen it on Botchamania was incredibly like prominent in the middle of the screen. But I mean, like, it's that kind of thing where it's like sometimes I people watch, probably at the wrong times, like during matches and stuff, but I don't know. I've never really noticed anything as it happened yet.
I'm determined to go on to the Thunderdome. Mainly because that means I need to watch live, which means I'm probably going to be shit-faced, so I'll be like that on it.
I know. Especially since it says that you're not allowed to appear drunk. And it's like, what the fuck am I meant to do?
Yeah, like, just sit there and politely
Watch
applaud.
wrestling sober?
Who does that?
So, there's a Rhea Ripley promo package for, well, not promo package, a promo of her building up tonight's cage match. Then we go backstage and Robert Stone is with Mackenzie, I think it is. And he's like, look what I found. Isn't she beautiful? And then finds Shotzi's tank and then pulls out a giant fucking metal stick, metal pole, what the fuck you want to call it?
A pipe.
Pipe, there you go. And is about to start smacking the shit out of it. And then Shotzi comes up and she's like, what you doing? And he's like, nothing. And then Aaliyah attacks and they have a fight. And then they go through this curtain. And then Io just is there.
She was getting her photo taken. It was a photo shoot, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. So that leads to Io fighting Aaliyah, which leads to the ring. Aaliyah gets in one side and she turns around and is about to leave. Shotzi's on the other side. Then Robert Stone comes in and Shotzi and Io do the double top rope maneuvers on both Aaliyah and Robert Stone. Yeah, heels go away. Shotzi picks up the NXT Women's Championship. Goes to hand it to Io. As Io goes to take it off her, Shotzi pulls it back. And then Io snatches it off her. But the line that she says here is the best part because she just looks at her and goes, don't make me hurt you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Loved it.
I'm all up for this match if it does come to fruition.
It's on next week.
Is it next week? Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's not for the belt. It's just a straight one-on-one match, but
Right, okay, so
it's
Shotzi's going to win that then.
Probably. And then she'll probably lose the title match.
Yeah.
So we get her.
I'm on board with it anyway.
Yeah, no. You obviously seem to be much more into Shotzi than you were when she kind of showed up.
I just found the whole tank thing a bit silly, and it was a promo package they done for her that lasted like 8 minutes, and it was just her shouting nonsense, and I'm like, this isn't selling me.
What, in a giant, in the real tank?
Yeah, I really did like that.
That was awesome.
I really didn't like that.
She looks so hot. So the first of many segments of Tegan Knox over at the Gargano household. And Gargano, like, obviously was the absolute star here. Like,
Aye.
Tegan walked in, he's like, what, no pizza this time?
I liked his thing about put a smile on and literally stand at the door and he went and literally dragged his lips up.
Yeah, because he was just very like, oh, right, here we go. And he was just like, ugh. Like, he was first psyching himself up. He was just like, eh.
Very Joker-esque.
Tegan!
So happy to see you!
Where's your pizza? So we get back to that later. So Dream of the Velveteen Variety takes on Ashante Adonis. The formerly known as Tahuti Miles now has his new name and I guess new character because he was on 205 for a while being the look at me, I'm brushing my beard on my way to the ring guy.
I don't think anyone in the world has ever seen that because you're probably the only person that still watches 205.
So this was a short match, but like Adonis really impressed the fuck out of me, to be honest with you. Like the good, like kind of, I put mic skills in air quotes because I don't really know what else to call it. But like obviously he didn't have a mic at the time. It was the kind of way that Velveteen Dream was doing his slithering around the ring thing, and then he kind of leant down and was like, "Oh, you think you're cute? I can be cute too." And then even the point where he got that incredibly close near fall, and I was like, "Oh my god, he's gonna fucking do it!" And I think they should have just let him fucking do it. He should have just won. So the ref dodges a move from Adonis, and that allows Dream to get the thumb to the eye and the DVD for 3. And then Kushida attacks, and then annoyed that Velveteen Dream has that fucking horrible Sanada style beard with the fucking...
I mentioned this a few weeks ago. You were like, "No, he doesn't," and I'm like, "He does."
Notice it now, yeah, because it's getting bigger.
Yeah.
See if he gets the big stupid, like, honestly, man, like, I love Sanada, but that beard was fucking bad. Big stupid blonde beard with like the fucking dark roots. Nah, not for me, bruh. So Kushida throws Dream in at the corner and then applies the armbar like in the corner. And I feel like this was something that Kushida needed because he needed a bit more of an edge to him. That
He's very rapidly, in my opinion, starting to go down the
pecking order.
Down the pecking order, yes, but also very much down the Hiro Itami route,
Ooh.
where he came in with so much hype and just really hasn't done anything.
Anytime it seems as if he gets something going, he just kind of loses.
Yeah.
And it's very... I don't know. It's very odd. Like
I believe he was also injured for a while as well, wasn't he?
he was,
Yeah.
which didn't help. Like yeah, because he had that match with Walter, and then they came off the top rope where he does that kind of thing where he drags his opponent off to go into the armbar, but then Walter landed like right on his arm and broke his arm essentially.
Yeah. Fuck, man. You're on Walter landed on you're anywhere.
Oh no, Jesus. Walter, big man. Don't know if you noticed. Breezango backstage with their kind of it's essentially a build up because we're going to have the tag team title rematch.
I thought this was hilarious.
Fandango smells his belt and
What does it smell like? Success.
no it was, he started off with, what does it smell like? Gold. Baby oil. Success. It was just like the first one was like, smells like gold. It's like, well, yeah, it's gold. Duh.
Maybe Tyler Breeze goes like that. I've got some of that success on mine too.
The best part,
he goes to throw over his shoulder.
it
And he misses.
just slips right up his... He was just like, oh. He's like...
Those two are just absolute gold. Fucking Breezango for Hall of Fame. Like, now. Fuck it. Just get them in now. Like,
And then the way they still keep calling them Emporium as well. And then Emporium pop up and they say that they're going to get the rematch next week, and Breezango will have the shortest tag title reign ever. And that's been built up for next week. But
Yep.
fucking hell, man. It's insane how they've been about for so long. They've been so entertaining for so long, and yet now is just the time where they finally got the belts. It baffles me, man, how they're not multiple time tag team champions.
I know. 5 years they've been together according to that promo. That seemed like it was quite long. Like, but 5 years apparently.
I mean, yeah, because they were about during the very early days of Tuesday Night SmackDown Live,
Mm-hmm.
and then I feel like
No, you're spot on actually, because were they not? They were on SmackDown, I'm sure, handing out the what you call it,
ugly tickets,
Yeah,
for lack of a better word.
yeah.
The fashion police, something or others. Yeah. So they've been about for so long, and then obviously kind of doesn't help that Fandango was kind of injured for that long period of time.
Yeah.
But now finally they're champions, and personally, couldn't be happier.
Absolutely. I mean, the fact that they were put back down to NXT was a good thing, but see, if you look at particularly the Raw tag team division just now, it's like that's in dire need of tag teams, man. Like, I watched the WWE 24 on WrestleMania this year the other day, and like you've mentioned this before, but I was kind of like, yeah, what have they? But you're spot on. Like, the Street Profits and Zelina's gang have been feuding since before WrestleMania.
Yeah. The only reason like Austin Theory was in that match at Mania was because Andrade got injured.
Yeah.
And couldn't. But that was the match at Mania. It was meant to be Andrade and Garza.
Yeah.
So thank fuck the two of them have broken up. But at that same time, the two of them have broken up, and then, Ivar is injured.
Yeah.
So the Viking Raiders are now out, and then the only other tag team, like, considering the fact they have had 86,000 matches at this point, like, now there's technically no tag teams on Raw to go after the Street Profits, unless fucking slap MVP and, or no, Shelton, and that was something we should probably talk about from Raw.
Yeah, true.
You know what? We'll maybe bring it up after this then.
Okay, we'll finish NXT first, and then we can whistle stop Raw.
Yeah, sounds good. Right, so we go back to the Gargano household, where Gargano's just sitting there with Tegan and Candice. He's just sitting there looking at them and going, you know what? This is quite awkward. And then they're kind of like, well, it's kind of because you're here. And he's like, all right then, I'll leave. Then you two can have your wine and your chat, and we'll see what's happening. So Candice sort of like turns to Tegan, and it was like, are you going to say sorry for your mistakes? And Tegan's like, what? My mistakes? And Tegan says she doesn't agree with the Gargano way, and Candice sort of replies with, well, I've always looked out for you, but I've never steered you wrong. And just because, like, my attitude towards everything else has changed, like, who's to say that this is going to be any different? Like, why don't you just trust me? And so Tegan was kind of like, I mean, she's got me there.
Yeah.
And that's to be continued as we go into Bronson Reed versus All Day Austin Theory.
The two guys that I'm not really that bothered about. So I've like absolute zero, not commitment, intrigue in this match.
Yeah. Did you see Bronson Reed's awesome fucking Titantron though?
Yes.
That was good. That's stuff like that is definitely give him a bit more character. It's definitely give him a bit more intrigue for me. So we're getting there, slowly but surely. We're getting there. So Reed had a headlock early on, and this lasted for about a minute minute and a half maybe, because Austin was just trying so hard to fight out of it and just could not.
Yeah, just couldn't get out of it.
Which
that was a nice wee spot, actually, to be fair.
If you've ever seen the infamous Daniel Bryan Cesaro match from Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, or as they were called there, Bryan Danielson and Claudio Castagnoli, where the whole match is worked around that headlock and Bryan just not being able to get out it, and then manages to get a roll up at the end, and that was like essentially the only move that they done.
Yeah.
There was like the couple of little back and forth bits to begin with, but as soon as that headlock was locked on, it was about 5 minutes of headlock. Brilliant match. I mean, just for the storytelling purpose, obviously.
Well, two of the best, aren't they?
We probably just didn't feel like working that night. So.
Yeah.
But then that's the thing, like, that kind of just goes to show that, you know, wrestling can be done in the most basic level, but still have the absolute highest, like, sort of fan interaction, fan appreciation kind of thing. Like, it's all about the story. Like, and the story of that was, I can't get out of this fucking headlock, no matter what I do.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not pioneering writing, but intriguing nonetheless.
So let's see. So there was a springboard elbow by Reed for 2. Then Reed with the Yokozuna sitting style butt splash after Austin tried a sunset flip attempt. There was a big splash and a jagged edge Death Valley Driver for 2 by Reed. There was this fucking point in the match. Like, obviously, Theory had his back sort of worked on throughout the match, but he tried this sort of belly to back suplex, got Reed up, but he almost kind of collapsed, and it was like, I was wondering if he genuinely pulled his back out for a second there. And I even think the referee did as well, because he started going over to check him. Thankfully, you know, he was all right. Then Theory sort of rolled through with this awesome looking blockbuster. So he did like a forward roll, leapt up, leapt entirely over Reed, then hit the blockbuster off of that for a close 2 count. He tried to lift Bronson again, but collapses, and then Reed with the senton, then the splash off the top rope for 3.
Yes, I mean, I'm not... Bronson probably I'm a little bit more sold on now, but Austin Theory, especially with certain things that have been said recently.
Yeah. It's it's a bit awkward.
Yeah, just a tad.
So moving on from there was the kind of match that you were alluding to earlier, where Roddy Strong took on Killian Dane.
That was before we started recording, but yes.
Oh, okay.
Just in case people are confused.
You did allude to it, just we weren't recording at the time.
Yes.
Yeah. So why don't you bring up that sort of thing now? Because we didn't actually mention that after the NXT title match, Cole backstage went up to Balor and was like, you know, good game.
Yep.
Kind of thing. So
Took his hand, and then Cole was interviewed a bit later on as well. I can't remember if it was before this match or after it, but he was interviewed, and like Charlie Caruso, was it Charlie? No, it wasn't Charlie Caruso. Who was it? Well, anyway, Mackenzie. Yeah, it's like Adam Cole. You came up short. How do you feel? Where he's like, yeah, the better man won. One day I will get that NXT title back, and that's undisputed and all that. But whereas in this match, Roddy and Bobby, were out fucking healing it up big time
against Killian Dane, who's also a heel.
Yeah, they're out healing it up big time. So I'm really thinking that the end of the Undisputed Era, at least the Undisputed Era with Adam Cole as its leader, is nigh.
So he may be on the outsets, and he'll just continue going with Roddy and Red Dragon.
No, I think they'll turn on him. They chuck him out altogether.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I mean.
yeah.
Like, Cole will be chucked out, and it'll continue on as the three of them.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of is like seeming as if that's the way, because like the Undisputed Era as a whole, we kind of mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, was the way that it seems as if all of Undisputed Era had turned face. They done a run in and kind of helped some people. I can't remember exactly who it was at this point, but kind of mentioned like this felt like the Undisputed Era had turned face, and just the way that like exactly the way they were acting in this match was very, you know, starting sort of level of Undisputed Era.
Oh my god. What if fucking Pat McAfee joins Undisputed Era? And like this rivalry between them isn't over.
But Pat McAfee is now the head of the Undisputed Era.
Yeah.
Oh my god. We might have something here.
Book it, Trips.
You can have that one for $3,000
Free? Yeah, why not?
or pounds.
Seriously, you went for 1,000.
Yeah,
It's $1 million idea, mate.
I know, but you need sort of you know, just like we $3,000 there, we $5,000 here.
Have it happen and then have the second match between them on Survivor Series.
Yeah, why not? Because I really don't think they're going to do the team thing this year, by the looks of things. Especially since, like, what, isn't it next month that there's going to be a draft anyway? So,
Yeah.
like, how are you supposed to then build, like, oh, here's Raw's best five against SmackDown's best five against NXT's best five? And it's like, yeah, but, like, some of those people have been on that brand for, like, 3 weeks.
Yeah, yeah. I think they probably will do it in some way, but ideally I think they should draft Undisputed Era to either Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah.
Because, like, let's be honest, right? Pat McAfee's a big name. He's a
Oh,
big
yeah.
pull. Like, they were very successful in their wee trial run of having him on the NXT card.
Uh-huh.
It wouldn't surprise me if they put him on the Survivor Series card.
Yeah.
And have him and Adam Cole. But with UE and Pat's corner this thing.
Yeah. Not a bad idea, to be honest. So, yeah, this was a big man, little man match, obviously, just by looking at them. Fish saves Roddy Strong from a Vader bomb. Dane takes out Fish, who was trying to interfere during the match, and that gives Roddy Strong the opening for him to be able to hit the big high knee that he does, get the 3 count on Dane. It wasn't necessarily a very long match, but it also wasn't exactly very interesting either, if I'm honest with you. But the match isn't the thing that matters. The thing that matters is Drake comes out afterwards to make the save, as the rest of the Undisputed Era were going to continue the beatdown on Killian Dane. So Drake Maverick comes out to, you know, even the odds. Drake and Dane go to shake hands, and then Killian Dane pops Maverick in the face.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I don't understand what's going on here.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I'm
Like, please, like, you know, shit or go off the pot. Like, because after that whole big story of Drake Maverick and the NXT Cruiserweight title and blah, 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 it's very disheartening to just see him essentially do absolutely fucking nothing now. Like, I don't care about this.
yeah.
Like, what? And then, like, also the kind of way that, like, after the whole him losing to Phantasma and all that, and then him changing into Escobar, and then, like, just Drake just constantly get, like, the shit beat out of him by that faction, and then that was it. Like,
Yeah.
then he just stopped one day, and now it's, like, kind of Fandango and Swerve that have the problem. So, like, just Drake is not involved in this anymore, and it's like, that's what you came back to WWE to do, is to do fucking nothing.
Collecting a paycheck though, isn't he?
I mean, I'm sure he's happy with it, but like, I thought that this was going to be a kind of prominent position for him, and it's
So did I. Like, I genuinely thought he was maybe going to go into like the US title, not the US title, the North American title picture or something like that. Do you know what I mean? But
why
it's not worked out that way.
Yeah, he should have been there instead of Velveteen, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Personally, I think Balor should have been there, but you know.
He had a match on the takeover.
True, that's true.
Better than fucking some people anyway, like Kushida.
Yeah, that's true. Fair point.
So we go back to Candice and Tegan again. They're starting to cheers their wine, and just as they're about to start drinking, like Candice goes, "To me winning the title," and then Tegan's like, "Wait, why do you think it's going to be you?" And Candice was like, "Well, you've already had your shot and you've lost." So Tegan's like, "Yeah, but you haven't beat Io either." So Candice was like, I'm just going to take a sip of my drink here. And then she throws a salad in Tegan's face. But the weirdest part of this was when it cut back to Tegan. Tegan like picks up a leaf, or like I assume it's like spinach or something, and then just eats it off her shoulder, which is really strange. It's like, oh, I have some salad on my shoulder. Nom nom nom.
Nah, to be fair, I think that's kind of a. You didn't just do that, did you? Sort of thing.
It's just like it seems so out of character for someone like Tegan Knox to do something like that. Though.
Well, if you've watched any of the Cooking with Candice episodes on YouTube, you'll find that Tegan can't cook anything. So, you know, that may be the only meal she gets until someone else cooks something.
A salad. I could make a beast of a salad. Could also cook a mean pot noodle.
Yeah.
Then Tegan and Rebuttal throws a drink in Candice's face. This is where Johnny Gargano comes back and was like starts screaming in her face saying, "You're a bad friend." And so Tegan dumps Pischetti, which is actually what I wrote, over Johnny Gargano's head. But then she also goes, "Fuck you," which is bleeped, but you can clearly tell she says "fuck you," which is quite what's the word? Like, it's very, OTT, even bleeped. Like, the fact that you could tell exactly what it was she said there is
but it adds to the fire of the feud.
Yeah, it does. But
I'd really added to the fire of the feud. Because if someone did this to me, I'd just kick fuck out of them every day forever.
Fucking collapsed on the floor almost when this happened. So Candice throws a bottle at Tegan, and Tegan moves out of the way and runs out the door. And Candice hits her fucking giant ass widescreen television.
It's Johnny Gargano's reaction though, when
yeah,
it's like,
because
TV.
Candice runs out the door after Tegan, and Johnny Gargano's just sitting there, just staring at the TV, which is on at this point. So it's like it's all smashed, and you can see the colors are all fucked up, and he's just like, "Oh, the TV, not the TV! God damn it!"
To be fair though, I don't think it really was the TV.
Yeah, it was clearly a thingy TV.
Yeah, it's like, have you ever seen the
Stunt TV?
Have you ever seen the broken TV video on YouTube? Basically, you go on it and play it, and it gives you that effect on it. But I've seen a few people doing like jokes on people saying, "Oh, I just broke your TV. I threw the controller at it or something," and they come in, they're like, "Ah, what the fuck, man? You broke my TV." That's clearly what they did. But still, though, I was like, no.
I genuinely don't think it was. I think they may have just were like, fuck it, like probably bought it from somebody off of, like fucking Craigslist or something for like, like $50. It's like, we're literally just going to use this to smash it.
Well,
because we've seen the wine bottle hit the fucking screen.
But it wasn't on when the wine bottle hit the screen.
Yeah, but then maybe Gargano turned it on to be like, "Oh, please be okay." That's like the only thing that I could think of. Or maybe they literally just had a smash TV that they replaced with their actual TV just for that bit. Who knows? But nevertheless, like, it was very good for the story. Because now, like, Candice and Gargano are like, "You broke her fucking TV, man." Like, you know, friendship is one thing and yada yada, but you broke her TV, and then Tegan could be like, "You broke your TV. You threw a bottle at my fucking head."
Yeah, if you're such a cow, I wouldn't have had to have thrown the
I
bottle at
know.
your head. So technically,
You threw biscotti over my fucking husband's head. That doesn't even constitute you getting a fucking wine bottle to the head. Ugh. So, the Battle of the Badasses is the nickname for this cage match tonight, which is fucking dumb, if you ask me. Then Priest is interviewed. He says that Thatcher is ugly, and he's not going to lose his title in the first defense. And he then invites Mackenzie to join his party forever. Because earlier on the show, this must have been a part that I forgot to take notes of. Thatcher's Thatch Can Wrestling started to watch Damien Priest matches, which obviously made Thatcher, you know, interested in getting the North American title. Hence why Priest was calling him ugly. And then I think he said something along the lines of, "Oh man, I could punch and kick that dude in the face all day and he wouldn't get any uglier because he's already ugly enough." So the North American title, the tag titles, and Shotzi versus Io are all on docket for next week as we go into our main event, which is the cage match, or the Battle of the Badasses. Which is terrible name.
yeah,
I mean, are they badasses? Yes. Doesn't mean you have to...
keep telling us that.
Also, did you notice that the next pay-per-view has one of those weird, annoying taglines again?
No.
It's Clash of Champions Gold Rush!
Can I quit? Like,
Not again. I think like that's the thing, is that they brought Payback around so quickly they didn't even have the time to give that its sort of like semi-heading thing, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Sub-bitch. What it should have been.
Sub-bitch?
Sub-bitch.
Payback's a bitch.
Aye.
Yeah. So Martinez comes out with a candlestick, and then Rhea jumps her before she even gets her entrance, and then sort of gets her in between the cage and the door and starts smashing the door in her face repeatedly. Rhea brings a table into the cage, and then the match finally starts. Like, is this the steel cage that they use for everything now? Or is this just the NXT steel
This is
cage?
just the NXT one, I'm sure.
Because I think, like, see the way that everything's sort of more on its side? Like, I think it's, like, so much easier to watch. And it's a lot easier to get footholds as well to try and climb out.
Yeah.
Lord knows how people manage to climb out of that old steel cage.
Well, they don't though, because they just get on the turnbuckle and then like kind of hoist themselves up. They don't do any actual.
But they kind of, like, sometimes try and get footholds and stuff like that. And it's, like, it's very, you know, small.
I think they should just bring back the old fucking blue cage.
I did love the blue steel cage. Plus, it was actually fucking horrible when you get flung into it because it was solid.
Yep.
I miss the old... Like, ICW was really good at bringing that thing back. Plus, the amount of spots that you could do with like, the big, you know, footholds and things to grab onto and all that. Like, I agree. So, Rhea with an early Riptide that gets countered in a Fisherman Suplex by Mercedes. There was a running powerbomb by Mercedes onto a chair. A suplex off the top by Mercedes, which was kind of like Drew McIntyre style, with it being in the sort of tree of woe. The thing that Drew loves to do, or did love to do. He stopped doing that now.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it. So after that, Mercedes climbs up to the top, and this is where Rhea throws a chair at Mercedes, and then drop kicks her. And Mercedes' head like kind of goes in between the two bits of the cage, and I really thought they were going to try and do something with this, like maybe like Rhea like climbs up and then starts grabbing the two sides of the cage and pulling them together, and you could have sold that like Mercedes' head was getting like clamped in between them. Nothing really came of this, but like the commentators brought it up as like, oh my god, like her head is in between the two bits of the cage, and then nothing came of it, which was really odd. Superplex by Rhea, and then Rhea with a sort of like a reverse electric chair, then her reverse cloverleaf submission. Mercedes used the kendo stick to break up the submission, and then Robert Stone starts to climb the cage. And as Rhea starts to do the superplex and going to bring Stone into the cage, Mercedes comes with the kendo stick, and then it's like, it's a neck breaker, but it essentially looks like a reverse RKO.
Yeah.
Which looked really cool. Mercedes sets up the table and looks for the fisherman suplex attempt off the top rope. It's countered though into the riptide, through the table. It is over, and Rhea Ripley vanquishes Mercedes Martinez. And what was a fucking awesome match.
It was really good. I was surprised that this was the main event when I found out this was going to be the main event.
Yeah.
Considering the fact that the NXT title match, but I actually think they nailed the pace of that quite well.
Absolutely. I do have one very quick note from Dark.
Mm-hmm.
That being that Will Hobbs seems to be getting a bit of a push now, after his quite awesome performance in that Battle Royal. He's been moved from jobber status to now winning matches. So if this is a thing that keeps going on, Will Hobbs may be a guy to keep your eye on. He was a guy that was meant to get the shooting star press off of Matt Sydal.
Yes, that was quite funny.
I mean, it was funny and heartbreaking,
Yeah.
and kind of depressing all at the same time.
But the thing is, though, Matt Sydal's totally fucking took it on board, man. And
It has.
He's like, yeah, maybe that was a sign that I should start thinking some new moves on Twitter.
Or just, be a bit more careful. I mean, as they were saying about the humidity and all that, like, there's probably fucking wrestlers sweating all over those ropes and stuff. It was just unlucky, to be honest.
Yeah. It was actually unlucky and very lucky.
Yeah. Because, I mean, he could have half rotated and landed on his fucking head or his neck, or...
Yeah.
He was lucky that, like, it slipped so much that he just fell backwards.
Yeah. I know, I should laugh, but it was quite funny.
Oh, I mean, like, I'm sure
What was it Robert called it? We were watching it live. I was pissing myself. I can't remember what it was he said. That'll come back to me.
I can't remember either. So why don't we quickly talk about...
It was the Shockmaster of our generation.
Yeah. And then even people have been posting that gif to him, and he's just like, oh yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Why don't we quickly talk about the few things from Raw then that were worth talking about?
Fire through Raw quickly, because we hadn't planned on talking about Raw.
Yeah. As we kind of mentioned, Garza and Andrade are now officially broken up. Ivar is injured, and then there's the whole Drew hanging about the entire show to
That was
attack
hilarious,
Randy
though,
Orton.
man. See the bad excuses he was coming up with, and he's like, "I forgot my phone.
Oh, picked up the wrong
I picked
phone.
up someone else's phone." Like,
Left my bag. Really, the only main point I want to talk about from Raw is the...
just put it in there. Did you see Drew's tweet? Like sharing the WWE video of him coming in the ambulance.
No.
In the ambulance, and Drew like reshared it, and the caption he put on it was "Holla if you hear me," and I was like, "Yes."
Oh, man. Drew, you fucking get it, brother. Right, so, I mean, there was Owens and Aleister Black went at it on Underground, which was quite interesting, considering that's meant to be, like, the start of their feud or whatever, but nevertheless. The main part of Raw that we want to talk about is the Hurt Business, the whole sort of story that kind of waned throughout the entire episode, where we kind of started off with the Hurt Business against Apollo, Cedric, and Ricochet, and I knew something was up the second that it showed Apollo and Ricochet standing in the ring, and then they hit Cedric's music, and it's like, but Ricochet and Cedric come out together to Ricochet's theme music.
Yeah.
And then, oh my god, he got attacked.
Yep. We did say that it was going to happen. I think I still would have preferred it was Ricochet rather than
Yeah.
Cedric Alexander. But, you know, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I quite like that fucking smarmy grin on his face the rest of the night, though.
Did you notice the one other, like, very nice attention to detail? So the match goes on. I'll bring it up in a second. The match goes on, and then just halfway through the match, Cedric just rips Ricochet off the apron, and then just beats the holy hell out of him, throwing him against the apron, against the barricade, and all that. Then he gets in, and this is actually quite impressive considering his size. He gets up Apollo and hits the lumbar check,
Yep.
which gets the Hurt Business the victory. Then, then he actually leaves. He leaves and lets the Hurt Business stand in the ring alone, which is interesting. And then later on, they're talking to him backstage, and then they give him his Hurt Business shirt, and then Shelton kind of stops him and goes, "Okay, so you went out there and you done all this, but I don't know if I trust you yet. So see, if you're playing here, you may as well tell me now, or otherwise you're gonna get a hell of a beating." And then Cedric's like, no, this ain't a joke. This ain't blah blah blah. I'm in this now. Then they come out for the MVP lounge. They give Cedric the floor, and Cedric is he kind of says like, right, well, I'm in a tag team where my tag team partner calls himself the one and only. Well, what about me? And when it comes to Apollo, why the fuck should I bust my ass every week for somebody else's opportunities at titles? So, you know what? Like, I've decided I'm going to join the Hurt Business because I'd rather be dishing out the beatings than taking them. And then he said something along the lines of also money.
Yeah.
But the one change was he was wearing those bright, like, purple tights in that six-man tag. When he came back out, he was wearing the black and gold, baby.
I didn't notice that, no.
Those Hurt Business colours. And then that led to a second match featuring the Hurt Business. Now the four of them against Apollo, Ricochet, and the Viking Raiders, which is where Ivar hurt himself.
He didn't die. You don't need to give the rest in peace sign. The thing is, though, like, from what I read about that, it's they took him there as like a precaution, but it doesn't seem that it's as serious as they thought it was. So hopefully he'll be back soon.
That's good. That's good to hear. Because I like Ivar. Well, I like the
Yeah,
Viking Raiders.
He's cute.
The other guy, not so
Not
much.
so much.
Not so much. And then Cedric ends up winning this 8-man tag for the Hurt Business. So, what do you think at this point? Is it a ploy? Is
No.
it? No. He's just legit in it.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that he's legit in it. So that kind of leads back to what we started to allude to earlier of why not just slap Shelton and Cedric together as a tag team? Boom, new tag team champions. Then they can go off and feud with Ray and Dominic when Ray's healthy again.
Which I'd said whilst we're taking a break there that I was reading today that apparently his injury's not as bad as like they'd initially reported. Like it doesn't require surgery, and they think he'll be back within 4 to 6 weeks.
Well, there you go.
So
46 weeks to make.
they can drag out the Rollins feud another couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Till Ray's back. Finally have the tag match where they win and then
Wait, they already had that match? Was it Payback? And they won?
yeah, but it feud wasn't. They didn't finish the feud though.
Also, I can't remember if this was said on the podcast or not, but
By win I mean pin Rollins, like definitively win. Like
okay. I can't remember if this was on the podcast or not, but we're talking about the new music guy that WWE have. Did you hear the start of Murphy's new theme song?
did it have oohs and ahs in it by any chance?
Oh!
I don't think this was on the podcast. We discussed this. It might have been. We talk about wrestling so much, I forget. Like, in case it wasn't,
We'll reiterate anyway.
Yeah, in case it wasn't on the podcast, I was saying that I don't really like this new music guy because all the fucking tunes sound the same. They all have oohs or ahs in them.
Yeah, so like you've got Bailey's theme song that starts with oh, and then you've got Seth Rollins' theme that starts with oh.
To be fair though, at least with Murphy that makes sense.
Yeah, because it's a disciple thing.
Yeah.
And then the Rollins thing also makes sense because he's a cult leader. The Bailey thing,
Because he's the Messiah.
yeah, the Bailey thing. I mean,
To
Bailey's.
harken back to what we just said earlier, not so much.
I don't know. I kind of like it though with Bailey, which is weird. And then you've got Gargano and Candice's theme, which have the weird eerie kind of through it. So these guys are kind of almost 5 for 5 in some of their theme songs. But then also, I think they're the same guys that fucking done Dominic's theme song, and his theme song's pretty fucking badass. So, I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where we just kind of need to see how it goes. And maybe the Oz will sort of, not be as much in time. And I think, like, as I kind of say, most of them can be argued. So we'll just kind of see how it goes from there.
Yeah, but if they just keep doing it, it's going to be like, fucking stop it.
I
Right?
know.
Do something original. Oh!
So shall we move on to AEW?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Do it to it. Okay.
Light the loom, take the boom, dynamite. Sorry.
Light the fuse, bring the boom, dynamite.
Okay, fair enough. Nailed it.
Sure. So Dynamite this week took place from Daly's Place.
Daly's Palace.
Wait, who's right?
You're right.
Am I?
Yeah, it's definitely Daly's Place, but I keep wanting to call it Daly's Palace.
No. Considering the amount of confusion that was on my face, I wasn't even sure.
Yeah, it's just all rolled into the one venue now. One
Oh, yeah.
completely fictional.
So we start off this episode of Dynamite with Tony Schiavone out in the parking lot as two very similar cars pull up right in front of each other, and then simultaneously, which I liked, and then both Jericho and MJF both show up at the same time. They both step up next to Schiavone, and he's like, "I just want to congratulate you on your match on Saturday," and they both go at the same time. "Thank you very much," and then, and then they kind of look at each other, and so Jericho kind of says, "Oh man, you were absolutely robbed in that world title match, and I can't believe that he used a legal maneuver." And then MJF is like, "Oh well, that means a lot coming from a legend like you, and the fact that you had to wrestle and you lost 2 straight times to Orange Cassidy, especially once in that Mimosa Mayhem match, is just out of order." And then so the two of them kind of like shake hands or whatever the fuck they done, and then they walked away like separate ways, and then there was that awesome cut screen where both of them just simultaneously go, "Wow,
Fucking loser."
what a loser."
It was such a strange opening to the show,
Yeah.
but it was still funny.
Oh yeah.
Like, I felt like that was more, which might not be a good thing, but I felt that was more a kind of like being the elite sort of scene.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But that was one of those few times where it's like something like that really worked.
Yeah.
Because obviously the two of them are so up their own arse
Yeah.
that there's like the fact that they gave compliments to somebody else is really like, ugh. Can't believe I'd done that, but like probably is best to keep each other on each other's good side for potentially future, kind of help and shit like that.
Yeah.
Then they done it again. We start Dynamite with already in the ring, the Lucha Brothers, and already in the ring, Jungle Express. Rawr.
Jurassic Express.
I have it written down and I still fucked it up.
This whole taking notes thing, maybe it actually doesn't work as well as we thought it would.
Maybe the whole drinking a lot when I've had no food today doesn't help.
Yeah, well, that's also very true.
I'm taking a U. I'm doing a U.
Hey.
What?
To be fair, I can't even fucking argue that, man.
You barely ever eat. It's terrifying. And I did mean to like try and get fed, but I forgot. Just haven't had the time.
I did have a bowl of curry sauce before you arrived. Had like one bit of chicken in it.
I was because when you answered the door and you had that bowl and you could have had it behind your back, I was like, whatever he's up to.
I didn't hide it behind my back.
You didn't do it intentionally, but I think you kind of moved out your way, but it looked like you were putting it behind your back. Don't look at me in my shame. Eating curry sauce out of a bowl. So I started this. Obviously, I started taking. Yeah, in case you haven't noticed, I actually took notes this week, and I'm going to try and do that from now on because evidently my way of chatting about stuff before didn't really work that well. Flicking through stuff as I watch it is not the way to go in life.
Yeah. Nah, I think it worked okay.
It worked okay, but
my ability to take notes is somewhat impeded by the fact I need to watch wrestling whilst I'm working. But also it means that I miss some things because I need to deal with shit. Like, do you know it took me 5 hours to watch Dynamite?
Really?
On Thursday.
Wow.
Because fucking cunts kept phoning me, so I kept having to pause it and pretend that I was totally immersed in my work.
Hello, fellow work colleague. Sure is a fine day of work we have going on here.
Shut up, Shivani! No, sorry. No, sorry, Desta, I didn't mean that. No. That was my flatmate. He's Shivani. Yeah, he's a pain in the ass. He can't leave me alone. And then I lean on the keyboard, which has happened, hit the space bar, and the fucking wrestling starts playing, and I'm like, ah!
Sorry, that was my other phone. It's got a really weird ringtone to it. I don't know.
Oh, Joe, I discovered, right, this is completely not fucking related to wrestling. I discovered the other day that my work phone has been disconnected.
Okay.
I'm assuming because I was on furlough and they just haven't reconnected it. I was wondering why no one ever phoned me on my work phone anymore. So now I'm like, did I declare it? Or did I just play dumb and be like, I've not had to use it. I didn't realise it was disconnected.
I've been charging her up every day and I've just never had one phone call.
I have been. I was like, there's no point in me charging this. It's literally just wasting electricity. No one phones me on it.
Yeah.
And the only reason I discovered it was somebody asked me for my work's phone number. And I didn't know what it was, so I tried to phone myself from it to get the number. And then it's like, calls from this number are barred. And I was like, oh, it's been disconnected.
How long?
Anyway,
how long before you can sell it?
Nah, I won't be able to sell it.
Bah. So at the start of this, as soon as this match started, the first note that I kind of had was, I love Express, but really hope that they can start to do something because this whole lovable jobber tag team thing is getting a bit old.
Yeah.
Then the end of the match happened. So, leading up to that, there was a big spot where Phoenix goes for a top rope springboard and gets caught in a chokeslam by Luchasaurus, where Phoenix pretty much goes 3/4 of the way over Luchasaurus, which looked fucking awesome. And then they called it the slam before time. My heart. That was a film that me watched as a child.
Oh, you mean it wasn't You Are the Star?
No, it was Land Before Time, except, my parents used to just hold pictures of my head and they just held them over the TV like, oh look, your Littlefoot. They didn't, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the kind of thing that they done, because I'm a simpleton. Penta with the pile driver and the stomp from Phoenix. Then Phoenix takes Lucha, but so that Phoenix takes out Luchasaurus, but Jungle Boy kicks out. So it was the pile driver stomp combination, and then as the pinfall was about to happen, Phoenix dives outside onto Luchasaurus, and then that kind of like they said this in commentary, was that kind of delayed Pentagon from getting into the cover, or Pento
L0.
L0M. I'm gonna call him Pentagon. I'm not fucking getting paid by these guys. I'll call him what the fuck I want.
Yeah. Big Penance. Let's just call him Penance. Percy.
Big P.
Percy.
Giant, thick, girthy P.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to take this moment to announce my definite retirement from Turning Heel. I would like to thank absolutely fucking no one.
Wow. You ungrateful bastard. Yeah, so Phoenix takes out Lucha, and then because of that, Penta delays on the pinfall. When he does get it, Jungle kicks out. Which, obviously quite surprising considering that double team maneuvers put away hundreds of people at this point. And then the end of the match comes where Phoenix has Jungle, and I'm so close to saying Jungle Kiona every time I say that, who is a Stardom wrestler. And then me and Robert have really bonded recently over our love for Stardom ever since Payback. Maybe you should get into Joshi wrestling.
Well, I do like Japanese girls. So, you know.
Where's my phone? That's not my phone.
Holla, if you hear me.
They say that all men are created equal. She's
Yes.
in Stardom.
I really hope the microphones picked up that.
They normally
that siren going by.
They normally always do. Because
Yeah.
every time that happened in the past year, it was like, there's your left. It's not funny anymore.
It's always funny.
Is it though?
Yeah.
So Phoenix was holding Jungle Boy for the Canadian Destroyer, but right as Penta came off the top rope, Jungle countered, and so Phoenix took the Canadian Destroyer because Penta already had his momentum.
Yeah, it was a really cool finish actually.
Yeah.
I quite like the finish.
So as soon as Penta hit it, he realized that he pile drived his own brother. Jungle Boy got the roll up, and then Luchasaurus snuck in to kind of hold back Penta for the victory. So the fact that I started the match and the first thing I typed was, I really love the Jurassic Express, but like this whole lovable jobber gimmick needs to change. And then they beat the Lucha Brothers.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now they're not going to be tag team champions, so I don't think there's any point in trying to push them as if they could be. Like you want to just let that steak sizzle for a wee bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
let them have fun. Let them get more over. Can you imagine? Right? Can you imagine the pop when the tag titles in front of a live crowd? Like, don't push them now to the point where you might have to then have them do it.
Yeah.
Not in front of a full house. Do you know what I mean? So I'm quite happy with them doing the lovable jobber thing just now.
No, but I mean, like
But
they've been doing that
it's
since
good.
the start of Dynamite, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying. So like
But
now
it's-
that
but they pick up big wins on a fairly regular basis though.
somewhat.
I also think that they have to reevaluate Jungle Boy before they give them the proper push, because Jungle Boy, just as a name,
Yeah.
it doesn't really work for someone you want to take seriously.
Yeah.
Like, even if they want to call him Jungle Jack Perry, that's fine.
I
But
think
they
I've
need- they
been
need
saying
to-
that for a while.
Yeah, they need to drop the boy bit of it.
Yeah. Because I mean, he is still a boy, kind of, because he's super young. But like, that's not gonna last forever.
Yeah, exactly. You can't be Jungle Boy when he's fucking 35.
Yeah.
Do
Exactly.
you know what I mean? So like, even if he just becomes Jungle Jack,
Yeah.
doesn't even need to be Jungle Jack Perry. Even just,
Just
Jungle Jack
Yeah.
works. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, fucking JR calls him it enough.
Yeah.
So
Might as well just start going by that.
So like after that, Phoenix and Penta start like fighting amongst themselves. Kingston comes in and tells them like to start.
Sorry, just very quickly, hard back to Jungle Boy.
Yes.
Even once he gets a bit older, if he starts going by like Jungle King Jack Perry or something like that, do you know what I mean?
I would love at one point for him to just turn heel and just be like yeah, like it's call him Jungle King Jack Perry, but like he's using the full like, oh yeah, I'm a king, I'm a Perry, like,
Yeah.
and just start using the.
I don't think he ever will do that though. Which to be honest, man, fair play to him. They
True.
doesn't. He never really acknowledges who his dad is.
Yeah.
Which is like he's got AEW on his own. It's nothing to do.
Oh
with
yeah, he
who his
100%
dad
has,
is.
absolutely. But like, if he ever wanted to do like a Hollywood gimmick, then start using the fact that
What if he just became Hollywood Jack Perry and just dropped the jungle thing altogether?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'd be on board with that.
like fucking cheap sunglasses, and then like, you know, but he kept Marco Stunt with him as like his fucking like butler or some shit like that. So Marco Stunt's still running about, but like he's like in a full like suit and everything, but is like, you know, opening the car doors for him and you know, carrying about like fucking super expensive like bottles of champagne and shit like
I would
that.
actually quite like to see him and Joey Janela do kind of like a Hollywood rich boy gimmick tag team.
Is Janela known as a Hollywood rich boy?
Not really, but he could get away with it because he's a very handsome man. Do you know what I mean? They could totally get away with that, like not aristocrat gimmick because they're not really aristocrats, but like they could get away.
That's Aristocats.
No, they could totally get away with just being these fucking two dicks that live off fucking daddy's dollar. Do you know what I mean? Like,
No, him and MJF.
nah, I think, yeah, but with MJF, I think MJF needs to be, anyone that's with MJF has to be with MJF to basically be fucking slapped about. Do you know what I mean? Like, do as you're
Well-
told. Like, do you know what I mean?
Well, that's what Marco would be there for. He keep
Yeah.
like Jungle Boy keeps Marco, but you know, he's like, he kind of turns like and kind of sees MJF's way of thinking with the whole, yeah, but you know what? I am filthy rich, and I am, you know, I was related to one of the teen heartthrobs through the 80s and early 90s. Like, I can retire right now if I wanted to.
Yeah.
And then MJF is like, yeah, you're damn right you could. And I'm also filthy rich. And then the two of them could just be like a tag team, just be like, you know,
To be
we're
fair, I can actually hear them getting introduced. They're filthy rich.
And you know it. They're richer than you, and you know it.
To be fair, fucking, I think old Davey, the fucking Alki, is probably richer than me. But, you know.
But no, I think that's quite a good idea. And then they abuse Marco Stunt, and then like Luchasaurus could be like talking to him backstage, like, why do you still hang about with him? And he's like, well, to be honest. And then he could just be like, I've got a lot of debt.
Yeah.
Like,
But, hey, listen, getting a master's degree isn't cheap.
but like just something. It could be something stupid like man, I mean, like, see when me and my brother were kids, because he has a brother that is also a wrestler, and then maybe you could bring him in at some point. I can't remember his fucking name at this point. He's another stunt. Like, the two of them had a match against each other last year at GCW's Backyard Wrestling, and then their mother came out at one point because they were beating the shit out of each other too much. But like, you could bring him out at some point, and then
Did you order them to the rooms?
I think it was at the end of the match. She came out and goes, "You two are grounded," and they had to leave. Because
Have you ever seen the Steel Panther DVD live in Lexi's mum's basement?
no,
And like they literally were just in a basement with like 30 people in the crowd.
really.
And at the end of the gig, this woman comes out, it's supposed to be Lexi's mum, and she's like, "Shut up! Go home! Lexi, upstairs, I want to speak to you."
Fucking hell.
Fucking great.
Yeah, so like they could like beat Marco about it, and then like Marco could say something like, "Look, a couple of years ago, like before going to AEW, me and my brother, we bought a ring, and we haven't paid it all off yet, and now like the insurance is like up, and we owe High Spots like a lot of money. So I'm working with these two assholes because I really need this money." And then Luchasaurus could be like, "I'll loan you the money, I've got plenty of money." He's like, no, I have to do this on my own. or just something like that, that way that gives everybody a bit of a thing, and Marco's not like with them, and then Luchasaurus is still trying to be like the good guy, and
I would still put Luchasaurus with them, but trying to be the good guy and kind of do the same thing. They'd be like, "Why are you hanging out with them?" And he'd be like, "Master's degrees aren't cheap." Like, something like that. Do you know what I mean? Since he seems to love to mention he has a master's degree, which is hilarious. You can talk, bitch. I've got a master's degree. That's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in being the Elite.
well, there was that time he done it on AEW as
Yeah.
well, where like
He
he grabbed the mic, he's like, "Rawr, rawr, rawr." I bet you think that's how I talk, don't you? Yeah, so after the match, Phoenix and Pentagon started fighting amongst themselves, and Kingston came in, tried to defuse the situation. Like, they still kind of continued to push and shove each other. Eventually, they got to the point where they finally made up. Everything was cool. And then Kingston turned around and says dead into the camera, "I was never eliminated from that Battle Royal." Which
I meant to watch the Battle Royal back because
So
I
did
can't
I.
remember how he was eliminated.
But apparently, I mean, I'm taking this for word of someone that I was listening to that said it, was apparently he went under the bottom rope to fight Archer, who was on the top rope, and then he got taken off from the top rope. So technically, he didn't go over the top.
Yeah, he went under it. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, the match with Archer and Mox has been announced for, they sort of like the second week in October, their anniversary show. So, I mean, unless that can change between now and then, or Kingston could hold on to that for a while, and maybe
Kingston's just going to get involved and end up like a double DQ, and they'll probably end up from that, whichever the next pay-per-view is, doing
Full Gear.
Yeah, be Full Gear, yeah. Doing a triple threat.
Yeah, because it's about 4 weeks maybe after the Archer Mox match that Full Gear is. So if he comes out and ruins that, and then they just make it a triple threat, and that's going to be your match, and then
Yeah, either that or he comes out and costs Lance Archer the match, and then they just go into a feud after that.
yeah, and then
Which I think is probably the more likely outcome.
then it'd be a lights out match. Then they bring glass and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I would be on board with that.
That would be awesome.
I was listening to John Moxley's press call after All Out,
Mm.
and I totally forgot his first match in 2020 was against Lance Archer.
Huh. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Little things, eh?
Yep. And he more or less confirmed on it that Renee Young will be All Elite soon.
Yeah, pretty much as soon as our non-compete clause is up.
Said she got a 90-day, can't appear for any wrestling-related company for 90 days, but he was like, the reporter had asked him, is she going to be doing anything with AEW? And he was like, well, she's backstage at every show. Can't do anything now, but
Yeah.
she's backstage at every show, and then moved on. So I was basically yes, she will be.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those things of they have enough backstage announcers and all that stuff that is she really needed, but nah.
If they move what's her butt into a permanent wrestling role,
Dasha?
then that opens up a spot. Or they could even just have her as like Moxley's like badass manager. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although she was never presented as a badass in WWE, but
Yeah.
firing some similar gear to Moxley and send her out with him. Put some
Yeah.
fucking eyeshadow on, man. Make it a wee bit gothy.
A wee tank top or something like that, like kind of.
I make it a wee
like-
bit gothy looking.
What's her face from Terminator 2? Sarah Connor.
Oh, that's a really fucking give her like a Sarah Connor kind of
Yeah.
gimmick, and just send her out.
Because she kind of has her kind of shortish hair anyway. Like there's ways you can make that look kind of.
and just send her out with Moxley.
Yeah.
And
Wait,
then that adds another dynamic to it because like obviously Moxley's a badass, but he's a badass babyface. So if you
Yeah.
then put his wife out with him, that gives you so much more
To play with.
to play with in
Yeah.
terms of the heels try to get the title off him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because they can start fucking with his wife and stuff like that.
And then maybe this could be the rise of Cody again, back up into the thing, heel Cody, and then you've got heel Brandy there, and then Brandy and Renee can, hoopla and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I'd actually rather they did that than make her a backstage announcer.
Yeah, because as I said, they've got enough of them.
Yeah.
And at the moment, it doesn't look as if Dasha's exactly going to be, a full-time wrestler. Like, it was nice to have her in that tournament and all that hoopla, but she's clearly not all the way there yet. So maybe, another little while, just...
But she's going to start having matches to get there.
Yeah.
Like, she's signed to a company, therefore it's not like she can just take indie bookings to get to that level. She's going to have to be doing it with AEW. You don't have her as like a wrestler on Dynamite every week. Give her fucking a dark match.
Yeah.
1 or 2 dark matches a month. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Against like fucking Red Velvet or fucking was it Skylar Monroe or like tons of those.
Yeah, like you don't have to be throwing her in against Nyla Rose.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Aye,
put her on dark
put
for 6 months.
Put her on dark against the jobber women that they have, and maybe even put her in matches against Abaddon and all that, and like let her lose. Like, she doesn't need to be undefeated or like get a fucking good record. Like, the obviously as wrestlers say, the best thing to do if you're learning how to wrestle is to be in matches.
Every wrestler, right? I don't care who they are. Every wrestler at some point has jobbed.
Yeah.
That's how you learn. Do you know what I mean? You go in, you get put in matches with people that...
Oh, do you know what was one of the funniest and weirdest things I've ever seen in my life was one of the dark matches before like a Raw in like late 2001, early 2002, where I seen Mr. Perfect wrestle and beat Brock Lesnar with the Perfect Plex before Brock Lesnar was on television, and that was the most fucking baffling thing I've ever seen in my life. But because
at the time, though.
Because Brock Lesnar wasn't a fucking thing then, but then as soon as he came on television,
everyone's been a jobber at some point.
Yeah. So like the fact that like Mr. Perfect technically he can go to his literal grave, which he did, with a pen over Brock fucking Lesnar. And that's something that you could never take away from him.
Yeah.
And now there's evidential proof on the internet that was a thing that happened.
Yeah. Anyway, shall we keep going with Dynamite?
Yeah, so we cut backstage with Jake the Snake in the rain, and he says he likes getting wet because recently Jake the Snake is really loving his fucking innuendos.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, what was that, like a week or two ago when he was like, you're not going to bust a nut on me or something.
Just as long as he stops fucking calling people Fred and Barney, then I'm happy.
I know. Oh, look, it's the Flintstones. There's Fred and Barney and Wilma. And Taz is like, gotta shut the fuck up. I'm trying to talk.
Aye.
Then Murder Hawk says that he's going to become the new AEW champion. This was meh. Like, there wasn't much to it. Like, even from Jake the Snake, who's a really good talker, like, there wasn't too much here from this. Matt Hardy was out next to have a chatter. I know that was just really good to see that he seems to be all right. He says that he's not a tough guy, but he was lucky. He says Rebby's here. I said that right. I thought I said Reba. Rebby's there, and she was in the crowd looking fucking raging, despite the fact she had a mask on, but the fucking look in her eyes was like, I don't want to fucking be here.
Yeah. See, be honest, man, right? I don't know how people feel about this, but I really cannot go on anymore, man. She's such a green-faced, moany cow.
Look, see this recent instance? Fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. But the fact that she's gained that reputation through things that are absolutely so much lesser than this, like that whole fuck that owl thing, and then that became a thing, and then she tried to make T-shirts and all that about Impact, and it's like none of that stuff was anywhere near the amount of what the fuck happened on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, what happened on Saturday is questionable, right?
Yeah.
But being the investigative journalist that I am, I've stumbled across this by sheer accident. Like, Dr. Samson, that said obviously had gave Matt Hardy the okay to go, right? Did you know?
We're going out tonight to kick that every line.
Did you know that he was the doctor at ringside on Raw when Jerry Lawler had his heart attack?
I think I said brown instead of
You
ground.
did, yes. Did you hear what I said though?
Yes.
Yeah. So fucking, he's the one that basically saved Jerry Lawler's life.
Yeah.
Like, he's not fucking some
Schlub.
Aye, that they've got. Like, it was him that was ringside at Raw that night. So fucking, if he's cleared Matt doesn't seem to have an issue with it. So why has she got such a fucking issue? She's just a pure social media whore.
Yeah.
She just wants
me.
retweets.
Look at me. I mean, like obviously, I'm not going to take away the reasons why she was angry. It was a
bad bump, right?
Yeah.
And even I question that he was allowed to go, right?
Yeah.
Because he didn't look steady on his feet whatsoever.
No, he didn't. That first couple of minutes, he was...
No, I'm talking about even when he climbed the fucking...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was a part where he slipped and it was... Like, fuck, he was able...
But again, that maybe that was just the humidity. Do you know what I mean? There's condensation built up on the steel and he's just slipped.
Yeah, they says it was like over 110 degrees in that outside building.
Yeah.
Outdoor building, what the fuck do you want to call it?
Yeah. Florida's bad for humidity though. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to Florida, but
yeah.
It is fucking bad. You can come out in this clouds everywhere. You can't see the sun, and it's still like 100 degrees.
Aye.
It's torture. So it might just be the case that maybe he did just genuinely slip on the humidity. I don't know.
Maybe.
Right? I don't know.
I would want to hope so more than...
Yes, you want to hope so. But for me, like, if he's been cleared and he said he's fine, and he went and finished the match, then okay, I don't have an issue with that. I am not qualified to have an issue on that.
Yeah.
Or have an opinion on it.
The one
I'm
guy
not
that
a fucking
did.
doctor. And guess what, Rebby? Neither are fucking you.
Yep. I mean, I kind of talked about the whole, while we were talking about this, like, the closest I could relate to this was one time where I got far too drunk and snuck in an entire bottle of vodka into an ICW event.
I remember that night. That was a fun night.
Which one? Was it the M-Dog versus...
Yes, it was, yep.
Yep, and then
I didn't fucking know he was in Lucha Underground.
You didn't know that was Son of Havoc?
Nope. And I'm like, why is everyone chatting? I actually said to you, and I'm like, why is everyone chatting Son of Havoc? And you're like,
it's because he's
Son of Havoc in Lucha Underground. And I was like, holy shit! Yeah, and then I was chatting so fucking loudly for him that I got this guy likes you chat. That's right, I forgot about that. That guy likes you.
And then, but yeah, like that night, obviously, fucking jaked at my tits. Then I went for the bus, and the bus had just like kind of pulled away from the bus stop, but was sitting right at the light, still half in the bus stop, and was like, "Can I get on?" And they were like, "No." And so my bright idea was, I'll bolt and then try and get the lights to stop the bus so I can get to the next bus stop. I ran pretty fast and fairly far, and then tripped up, fell, and smashed my head off the fucking concrete.
And now you're the Grizz you are today.
Then the bus stopped, and the driver came out. It's like, "I'll phone you an ambulance." It's like, "No, I just want to go home." But like, oh yeah, I was completely out for a couple of seconds. Then I kind of woke up and seen the bus stop in front of me.
Like, I did it.
And then she's like, "I'll call you an ambulance." It's like, "No, I just want to go home." And it's like, "You were knocked out." It's like, "Yeah, but I'm awake now." I just got my bell rung a little. I think it was the actual term that I used. Like the WWE term of he smacked his head a little, he got his bell rung. And that's what I said. Then she was like, oh yeah, I'll phone you an ambulance. I was like, no, I just want to go home. I'm fine. And then she let me on the bus, and I was still furtive about trying to get my ticket on my phone. She's like, no, it's fine. I was like, no. And I was pretty adamant to show I was alright by getting up on my phone.
So the worst thing is, bus drivers are supposed to not hold up the bus by people doing that. See if you're in there and flitter about on your phone for long enough, they'll tell you just to go on without actually asking if you have a ticket.
I know.
So she's like, just go on. And you're like, yeah!
No, it was like that adamant kind of thing. It was like, I just kind of like, I was so tempted to say, I was like, this whole thing wouldn't have happened if you just let me on. But then, like, yeah, got on. Phone mother half was like, yep, I had a fall, and she was shouting at me from like the driver's seat, and it's like, I was like, can't hear what you're saying because I'm talking to somebody with my headphones in, like, but then, like, she's like, don't go to sleep when you go home. It's like, okay, bye. And then I was trying to watch the fucking pay-per-view that was on that night.
You went to sleep.
I fell asleep. But then it was about 1 o'clock by the time I fell asleep, so I'd stayed up a couple of hours. But, yeah. And now I have a big scar in the back of my head. All because you wouldn't open your fucking doors and let me on. It's all your fault, driver. I'm sure you're listening.
Yeah, of course.
Bitch.
All your fault, driver lady.
Yeah, I mean, it is. She was still...
You know what I found though, right? This is something that's kind of totally off topic. Not off topic, it is on topic, but it's not the topic of wrestling. I've discovered that First Bus, particularly in Glasgow, seem to be hiring quite a lot of hot female drivers.
Yes.
Equality, man.
I've seen a good couple of them. Good for yous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never thought of no, anybody say that. I was going to say that. Never thought I'd have a bus driver fantasy. Then I remember my uncle's a bus driver. Like, no!
Definitely don't have that fantasy.
No, definitely not that one. No, absolutely not.
So anyway, back to Matt Hardy. He says that he's sorry for the scare and that the match didn't go the way he wanted, but he's glad that the feud's over and he's putting Sammy Guevara behind him. And now it's all about getting healthy, which is interesting. Getting healthy from what? Because I'm pretty sure that Tony Khan tweeted out saying that Matt Hardy didn't have a concussion. So what you getting healthy from there, Matt Hardy?
He's still going to have a sore head. Doesn't mean he's got a concussion.
Yeah, what you getting healthy from there, buddy? You want to tell us where you're getting healthy there from? You sure you don't have a wee bit of a concussion there? Yeah. Interesting.
Joey's probably fucking getting healthy from.
The beating the fucking Rebby gave him when he got home.
He's probably like, Rebby's like, you don't have a concussion? And he's like, well, the 4 doctors have seem to say that I don't. Well, you fucking do have a concussion.
Well, you
Matt, what do you think about us? Where will you put your family first? And he's went, right, okay, fine, I've got a concussion. And you know what? That's not out with the realms of possibility.
Or like, I don't have a concussion. Well, you do now. Smash. Fucking
frying pan.
smashes a lamp or something, or a frying pan over his head.
How's that non-concussion, Matt? Eh?
And then he's like, so when I come back, I'm going after the AEW title. And everybody went,
I actually wouldn't mind a Matt Hardy Moxley match. Although Matt might die despite what his t-shirt says, but, you know.
He did point that out. He was like, I know my t-shirt says I don't die, but really more I'm just quite lucky. That doesn't sound anything like Matt Hardy, but I've established before he can't do accents.
Yes, he can.
Coming up next was Angelico versus Orange Cassidy. It was good to have the Hybrid 2 back on Dynamite. Although...
Jack Evans is injured, apparently. That's why they've not been there.
What?
And he still is injured.
What? He was there at ringside. What the
Yeah.
hell? Ah.
Did you not see that? That's why he said in an interview afterwards, that's why he's not been on TV, because he's injured. And he's still not cleared. But
But they've been wrestling on Dark?
Have they?
Mm-hmm.
He said it. Oh, probably should have read the article and not the headline. But he said he was injured.
Unless this is just recently, as in between their last match on Dark, and this is why.
Unless he's been injured, but not enough to stop him from wrestling, so he's just kind of been on the shows in order to appear.
Yeah,
And like Angelico's basically been doing all the heavy lifting.
maybe. So yeah, like the first thing I say is fucking finally TH2 are back on Dynamite, and Angelico makes his entire entrance to replays of the Mimosa Mayhem match. Great. You gotta love it. Yeah, so they're called the Hybrid 2. But their theme song goes, the last of the true hybrids. So I think they should really have been called the True Hybrid 2. That's just a little thought there.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because, I mean, like, and it goes to show because literally in this match, Angelico kind of works on his submission games with that weird fucking, like, backpack stretching the arms and then has, like, one of the legs over his knee, Orange Cassidy, and it's like, yeah, but Angelico is known as, like, a high flyer for the most part, so he really is a hybrid. And then, obviously, so is Jack Evans as well, hence, you know, the name. Well done. So there was Angelico was working a lot with the submission game. He sold, like, an awesome DDT from Orange Cassidy, and Orange Cassidy gets the orange punch for the win. Obviously, it was kind of a bit more of a glorified squash match, but hopefully this at least gets TH2 a bit more on TV.
Yeah.
Because it's a damn shame that they're not on TV ever since they came back. Then Santana and that other did jump Orange Cassidy, and I thought this was the end of this, but no, they're going to go back there again. And the best friends come out, and
Yeah, they challenged them to the parking lot brawl. Which,
yes,
to be fair, I don't think actually happened the last time, did it?
exactly. But the last time that the Kentucky Gentleman, Chuck Taylor, said that was when they were in the feud with Penta and Phoenix, and they specifically said, on the next Dynamite, why don't you meet us in the parking lot? Because at that time, that was the first week of the pandemic, and they didn't know if Dynamite was even going to happen the week after. So they're like, on the next Dynamite, you meet us in the parking lot. And so that's exactly what he said here, on the next Dynamite. Which technically also kind of worked, because during the night they were like, oh, Dynamite might be on Wednesday, might be on Thursday.
Oh, good point, actually. I never thought of that.
We don't know.
It's to be fair, man, it's pretty fucking amateur that they don't know when the next Dynamite's going to be. And it's like, the NBA playoffs or not, the NBA playoffs are happening, so why are you not fucking...
But I think it has to do specifically with those playoffs, as in, like, again, this is going by what somebody else says.
To me, it sounds like if the game on Wednesday goes to overtime, then Dynamite will be on Thursday. If it doesn't, it'll be on Wednesday as planned. And it's like, well, why not just put it on a wee bit later and just have it on Wednesday? Or just move it to Thursday.
I think there's more to it than that. I think there's something along the lines of, like, if one game has a certain outcome, that will change what happens on Wednesday. So if this game turns out a certain way, then the match on Wednesday might not happen, or something like that. And then, ergo, Dynamite could be on Wednesday. If not, then it'll be on Thursday. If the game goes the opposite way, and then that means that the game that's scheduled for Wednesday will take place, or something convoluted along those lines. I don't understand basketball as much as I would enjoy to, but you know.
I just don't think it's that complicated to figure it out.
I know.
It is what it is.
Yeah. I know, like, that's why I think they should just commit and just be like, it's Thursday. It's going to be Thursday this week. Fuck it.
Yeah, it's like, just pick a day and fucking do it.
Yeah. So they make the parking lot brawl with the almost exact same kind of promo that Chuck Taylor cut on the Lucha Bros all those months ago, and that match never happened.
Yeah.
Also,
Pretty sure that the Lucha Bros not get, at least one of them not get stuck in Mexico.
yeah, both of them did, I think.
Yeah.
And then also, speaking of matches that never happened, was there was that match. There was also Blood and Guts, which was the Inner Circle against the Elite and Matt Hardy. And there was also the Elite Deletion, which was meant to be Matt Hardy and Chris Jericho. All these matches were booked and never happened.
Yeah. They should just see once crowds are allowed back. Well, they've obviously started to have crowds back. They should just have an episode of Dynamite where all these matches that were supposed to happen
Yeah.
happen.
I mean, like, you could even work the whole point of, like, Jericho and Matt Hardy, like, with their Elite Deletion match, and it works into the main event, which is the Blood and Guts War Game Steel Cage match.
Yeah. I think they're going to do Blood and Guts as his own pay-per-view now.
Yeah, why not?
I think it should have been a pay-per-view to begin with.
Yeah, it should not have been, like, a main event of a Dynamite. It should easily be a pay-per-view thing. And then plus...
That's a good name for a pay-per-view as well.
And you know what? Now, like, the Elite's kind of disbanded, so why not just have Dark Order versus Inner Circle?
It's kind of two heels, though.
Yeah.
Think about that for the next episode of how it could be rebooked.
Yeah.
Even they could just have Blood and Guts as a pay-per-view, and the gimmick to it is every match is no DQ.
That's lockdown. That's thieving.
It's also Extreme Rules.
What?
Then it's also Extreme Rules.
But lockdown takes place every match in a steel cage.
Yeah, that's totally different then. No, I'm saying if they decide not to do the Blood and Guts match, which they technically could still do, but who would be in it is where the question is. But if they just had like Blood and Guts the pay per view, where just every match is no DQ, or every match is First Blood. Oh.
Or like variations of it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Yeah, we'll look more into that. Like, because I mean, clearly that is something that AEW is definitely going to keep in the old back pocket.
Yeah, definitely.
Easily. Like, that's something that they're absolutely going to break out at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if Dark Order would be involved, to be honest. Maybe not against the Inner Circle, but I just thought, like, considering, you know, the Inner Circle are heels, but they're the cool, likeable heels.
No, they could do it Inner Circle versus the Best Friends, and
Orange.
I'm including Orange and Best Friends, and
Jurassic Express?
yeah, something like that would work.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck it.
And as we'll get to shortly, in fact it might even be next, where Jericho's AEW career is going.
Yeah, that's true. Well, Alex Marvez is backstage, or as I call him, Old Paws.
That's yeah.
Yeah. Chaps the door of the Young Bucks, and then they open the door and double super kick him, which they got fined for later on in the night. And that was all the Young Bucks done this entire show.
They're saying like they get fined for it later in the night, and it's like they are basically the owners. Like they would have been involved in that fucking discussion.
Yeah.
Like it's a bit stupid.
How much should we fine ourselves? Nothing. No, we have to fine ourselves something.
Oh, okay, $5,000. We made
Yeah.
that. We made that fucking tonight.
Yeah, we made that by doing fucking nothing tonight. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kip and Penelope are out next. They make fun of of Tony Schiavone saying, well, of all the people that we would want to interview us, we would at least want JR, because at least he knows how to have fun.
Do you know the thing is though? I reckon Tony Schiavone is probably a really fucking good laugh for a night out.
I would say so. I would say so indeed. Like, he seems to be the one that's well, I mean, I would say he seems to be. He definitely is the one that's most up for a laugh. Look at all the stupid ass shit that they've had him been doing over the past however long he's been in AEW. Like those Britt Baker fucking montage segments and shit like that. Like all the Britt Baker stuff. Like he's always been like the thick of the Britt Baker's. Like he's been the butt of all her jokes, and he's the one that receives these stupid like messages from the.
See, the thing is, right, for him, he's kind of like the one that hasn't been that involved in wrestling since WCW went. He worked in Starbucks for like 8 years, for fuck's sake, before AEW signed him.
Well,
So
technically, he actually was the commentator of MLW for like 2 years before AEW was even a thing.
Yeah, but MLW is not exactly a full-time paycheck, is it?
And actually, also, I did hear that he only worked one shift like a week or a month in Starbucks, and because they have health insurance, so he's not like he worked there like full time.
Don't work in Starbucks, man. Get the guy a wee bit.
I'm giving him a nod, but he done it for a specific reason, and the specific reason was that they had healthcare.
And it's so sad that Americans feel the need to have to do that.
I know. Yeah, because I feel like he's getting along quite well with the podcast that he's been doing, so that's probably where a good portion of his Kashish came from.
I've started listening to that in the last 2 weeks or so, and it's actually a really good podcast.
Yeah.
Both him and Aubrey are hilarious.
No, I mean his other podcast,
Oh, right, okay, I thought it was on the
Unrestricted.
yeah, Unrestricted's really good, man.
Is it?
It's a very good podcast. It's very similar to Talk Is Jericho, but not quite as corny, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
In terms of they've got wrestlers on it and they just shoot shit.
Interesting.
And they do quite a lot taking the piss out Tony.
I mean, to be honest, he is kind of one of those people. It's like, at least he's like, even though he's the butt of a joke a lot of the time, you know, he takes it on the chin.
Did Sammy Guevara on it. I don't think Sammy understood how podcasts work, because he kept like they'd be talking about something.
Evidently not from the statements he's made before.
And they were talking. Yeah, okay. What was said was said.
I know.
Apologise.
Yeah.
His apology.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. But he kept like Tony Giovanni said to him like, "Oh, you've got quite like you like your like action figures or something like that," and he's like, "Oh yeah, look, I got this Thor from," and like Tony Giovanni's like, "Sammy, it's an audio podcast, people can't see, so obviously they were doing it over Skype." And he was like, "Look at this
one."
And, like they had to like say to him a few times, they're like,
Nobody can say that. Nobody can say that.
It turns out he's got a full size cutout of Chris Jericho in his bedroom, and he's like, "So my tag partner's always with me," you know. And he's like, "Again, Sammy, people listening to this can't see it. You have to be descriptive with your words."
Yeah. But the part that I want to know is like, what kind of era Chris Jericho is it? Because if it's an old school like WWF / early WWE one, that would be hilarious that he had that in his room for years, and now he's teaming with Chris Jericho.
I don't even know if he really does, man, or if it was just a joke that they were saying. But
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he's still young, so like,
yeah.
he's still a significant amount younger than we are. So, and the fucking
I just get images of him turning up to a Dynamite taping with under his arm, and like, "Chris, going to sign this for me?"
he probably did that the first day he met him.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, speaking of which, Kip and Penelope came out. They made fun of Tony, saying that JR knows how to have fun. Then introduces his best man, and some fat guy comes out
From Twitch.
called Puff or whatever.
Yeah. One of his Twitch followers.
Yeah, and it's like, you said you're the best. I'm your best man. It's like, no, I said you're the best man. And then it's like, okay, let's try this again. My best man. And then
Pillman Jr.
Pillman Jr. comes out, and he's like, we're not even friends. Like, you just kept harassing me and texting me and phoning me constantly, so I just said you were the best, man. Like, leave me alone. We're not even friends. Then, the third time lucky, the best man. And then this awesome theme music hits saying, "He's the best! He's the best, man!" And then Miro walks out.
Miro Day.
Miro Day. Miro Day.
Ah, man, he's so over already.
Yep. Although that, I mean,
It's just a shame it was in front of like a 15% fucking audience.
it's good to see that Eminem still getting work.
Yeah. I liked his bleached hair, and the reason I liked it is because it totally fits to the gimmick. Because he's meant to be he's like a lad now. Do you know what I mean? He's like one of these one of Kip Sabian's lads. So like bleached hair and all that kind of work. But you just know that eventually, like during when they do the wedding in Dynamite, Miro's just going to fucking clock him. Do you know what I mean?
But the fact is, like, he's the best man of the wedding, but that's not why he's called. He is the best man. He's the best man.
Yeah.
So, like, he's the best at being a man. So he's the best man.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Like, it's great, man. I can't wait to see where it goes. I'm so glad that Miro's there now, and that's yet another main eventer for the future. They've got there by the future. I mean, probably within the next 12 months.
Yeah.
But, I've seen a few people going like, "Oh, AWC," and it's like,
here's the thing. You know what? They're wrestlers that need work. Ooh. And then this is that whole thing that kind of that does piss me off about some people that go on about stuff like that. It's a bit of cider for the working man.
before your rant.
Yep. And then you get the old whistle tuned. So WWE, 3-4 months ago, released 20 plus wrestlers and then a bunch of backstage people. Even in fact this week, Jerry Briscoe tweeted out saying that after 36 years of service, Vince McMahon phoned me and says I'm not needed anymore. Imagine how heartbreaking that is.
To be fair though, he might be at the stage where he said he was happy, he was content with it. And also see the fact Vince McMahon phoned him.
Yeah.
Like that's probably you can only say so much in a tweet. I think that's probably a very very honourably discharged sort of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe
Vince
I'm
McMahon
just
doesn't phone many people.
Maybe I'm just looking at it a different way. But anyway, back to the point was the fact that they released 20 professional wrestlers. It was a hodgepodge of good and bad professional wrestlers. A lot of them seem to have found homes other places. But, if you're another wrestling company, why wouldn't you sign half of these people? Which they have.
Arguably, with maybe the exception of EC3, I think they've arguably got the best of that bunch.
The OC. The OC.
Yeah, but for me, I would rather the OC weren't anywhere near AEW just now. In future, maybe, but it would just become too much of a fucking boys' club if they were there as well. It's already a wee bit of a boys' club in the, as we keep talking about with the Bucks and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not actually too fussed about them.
Yeah.
In terms of new people to see, say, Kenny Omega and Cody work with, they're getting the best of the bunch just now.
Yeah, I suppose. But it's just, I don't know. It's just that kind of thing where it's in general, it's right, well, Impact have hired a whole bunch of these former WWE guys. I don't see them all of a sudden getting shit anymore. Like they used to. It's oh, look at TNA, hiring all the ex-WWE guys. These people are wrestlers. Their job is to wrestle. What is the problem with other companies hiring?
That's like me, right? I work for a company that installs smart meters. That's like me fucking being made redundant from my job and then getting a job with British Gas.
You sold out. You sold out. You sold out.
Look at fucking British Gas hiring those remove company name here. Employees.
Yeah.
Why are they not getting fresh talent in?
I know. When they get fresh people installing fucking smart meters. Oh, it really just does annoy me at this point. The whole there's that graphic that's going about right now. It's AEW, and then at the top it's Cody Rhodes' tweet saying, "Oh, it's a business. We're not going to hire every ex-WWE guy." And then it's then it's like pictures of like every ex-WWE guy, but then it's like there's pictures of Cody and fucking Dustin, and it's like, oh my god, like, and then Sean Spears is like, you know, they are still wrestlers, like,
But they're also guys that, okay, Cody had a good run in WWE, obviously so did Dustin, but they're also guys that never really got it.
yeah,
In WWE, like say Miro and stuff like that. It's like fucking.
he should have been a
Rusev-
multi-time
Rusev
world
should
champion.
have been a world champion.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
100%.
There's no question of it.
Mm-hmm.
His career literally fucking imploded the day John Cena beat him at WrestleMania.
Agreed.
Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. These are guys that we never got to see have main event runs in WWE
Yeah.
that arguably deserved it.
Or even like Rusev's main event run was a month long when he fucking, you know, got bumped up to wrestle Roman Reigns during that time where Roman Reigns has his first title reign where it was like how he was just going over everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't make any sense. Like the one thing that I will say that I hated about this was the first thing that Miro had to say, and you know it well because you bring up all the time, was the whole, ooh, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I spent 10 years under the glass ceiling reaching for brass rings. I don't know why I've turned into the Beatles, but, you know.
Speaking of that, happening again, our other podcast, our episode on the Paul McCartney death conspiracy coming soon.
I spent 10 years under the glass ceiling and I've been reaching for the brass ring.
Fucking amazes me, to be fair, the Beatles never wrote a song called Glass Ceiling.
Or brass ring.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
And, you know what? You can shove the brass ring up your ass. I really just decided to commit to it now, like, evidently. So he's like, blah, 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 grass ceiling? No. Glass ceiling, brass ring, shove up your arse, up north, you know, all the fucking, shut up. Don't, like, I was excited to see you, and then you started with that, and it's like, seriously? You're going to piss and moan about
It
WWE?
does annoy me when they do that. Like, it's just fucking ignore them.
I know.
See when you were at school and you had a bully at school? Fucking just ignore them.
Mm-hmm. Or tell him to go kill himself or something.
Yeah, maybe not that, but you just ignore them. I mean, the school bully usually had more problems than you did. Hence the whole, well, Nelson Muntz is a prime example. Yeah. But, yeah, man, it does my argument, it's just constant WWE, or those other guys.
Up north.
Up north. Fuck off, man.
The people in Stamford.
Just be your own fucking thing, man.
I know.
I'm sure Rusev said everything he wanted to say when he left on his Twitch channel and stuff.
Yeah,
Just leave it at that. Don't be so fucking bitter.
I know. And again, like, that's the whole thing. It's like, why be better? Like, you're in a prominent company. Like, it doesn't matter, like, see what your opinion is on Impact or whatever right now. You're in a decent company. Like, I mean, let's face it, Ring of Honor is the worst American company that you can go to right now of all the American companies. Impact is doing decent. So, I don't know. If I was a wrestler, I'd rather be in Impact than Ring of Honor. I mean, MLW seems to be doing alright. Fucking, I'd rather be in MLW than Ring of Honor. But I said all that to say that, like, you know what? Like, if you're in Impact or AEW, don't think that as a fucking... Oh, what'd you call it? Like, don't think that as, like, ooh, it's just because WWE's the biggest. It's like, I mean, is it though? Like, yeah, probably, but that doesn't mean the two companies you're working for are a fucking downgrade.
We'll talk about WWE being the biggest. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
WWE is the biggest. But the market that you guys appeal to, arguably, Raw and SmackDown are nowhere near that. Raw and SmackDown are predominantly watched by families, young kids, and stuff. The guys like these guys that are trying to be like proper fucking boots and trunks wrestlers and fucking win world titles and stuff, It's your NXT audience and your AEW audience that they should be appealing to.
Yeah.
And I think pretty much every wrestling fan I know watches AEW and NXT pretty much religiously every week.
Yeah.
Raw, SmackDown, take it or leave it. And for a while, even I on this podcast, when we originally done it, for a while was like, fucking this is so shit.
Mhm.
It's shit because it's not what I want to watch. So I don't watch it.
Yeah.
I watch what I want to watch and I'm happy doing that. Don't get me wrong, I've started watching Raw and stuff, mainly just Raw.
Mm-hmm.
That's purely because of the fucking world we live in just now. I'm home a lot, I have
And
time to watch it.
These are the
And I
hands
don't
we're
feel
given.
as if I've wasted fucking 2.5 hours of my life watching it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I know, it's just, yeah. It is frustrating because just why do you need to these days? Every other wrestler has fucking done it at this point. The whole up north or the place I used to work. It's like, right, we get it. We knew you used to work there. You don't work there anymore. Shut the fuck up.
And it's when you get guys like Jericho and all that doing it as well, it's like, mate, come on, you are the GOAT. Literally, you are the GOAT. You are so fucking above taking the pissy jabs at WWE.
And you know what?
Over something that technically wasn't even really their fault. AEW offered you more money, WWE went, we don't really want to match that. That's business, that's how it works.
Yeah, and you know what? I can guarantee, like right now, that Jericho will end his career in WWE. He will absolutely have one more run in WWE, one more Royal Rumble appearance, one more match at WrestleMania.
Not for at least another 4 years.
Not for at least another 4 years, but yes, he will definitely end his career in WWE. I can guarantee it. Like, he's went to AEW to put them on the map. He's done a solid by going there to help them, but he knows for a fact.
I don't know if you ever listened to his podcast episode where he explains why he signed for AEW. AEW gave him a contract offer.
Mm-hmm.
He then went to Vince. He's like, okay. He's like, it's a very nice offer. He's like, but I got to speak to Vince first because that's who I am. So he then went to
I think
Vince.
I have heard this actually.
Yeah, so he then went to Vince and Vince went, yeah, we're not going to match that, just sign it. And he seems to be so fucking bitter about it. And it's like, well, you go to AEW and you can help younger guys get over, right? You tried to do that in WWE and look where it fucking landed. It landed Kevin Owens in trouble. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, that's nothing against Jericho, it's to do with the way WWE system works. If WWE felt that they didn't value you as much as AEW felt they valued you,
Yeah.
then fine.
Yeah.
It's like any fucking job. I don't get upset if I'm applying for 2 or 3 jobs at a time. I get 3 offers, and one offers me $5 grand a year more than the other does. It doesn't mean I start fucking taking pops.
I mean,
fucking, do you know what I mean? It's just
It's, I mean, like, see, be honest, in Jericho's defense, like, the fact that you have been so loyal to that company for so long, like, even to the point where, like, he was working New Japan matches, but then still was willing to do Saudi shows to appear in the Greatest Royal Rumble and all that hoopla. Like, he was doing the two of them at the same time. And I can argue that, yes, I can understand that there was a bit of frustration and a bit of, what is the word? Not backstabbing, but just kind of like, you're not the worth that you think you are in this company.
I don't think it's about that at all. Like, obviously Jericho's getting on now. He's fucking kicking us off 50. Right?
Yeah, but
Even Jericho came out and said that AEW offer he got was the most money he's ever been paid in
Yeah.
wrestling. Right? Why? And for any businessman, right? I get it for AEW because they need the big name in there to fucking draw people into watching it. I totally get that. But why would Vince McMahon be paying Jericho more than he's ever been paid before when he's not technically, but arguably at the end of his career? Do you know what I mean? It's like, that money should be going into younger talent that have got maybe 10, 15 years in them.
I mean,
do you know what I mean?
yes, yeah, but like my side of the argument would also be like, you know, after everything he's done for your company, do you not think that he would maybe deserve, maybe not the money? I mean, we don't know the figure exactly, so let's just say it was like $1 million a year. like so just for talking sake, and so like. And like, let's say like Jericho's getting $500,000 in WWE again, just for talking sake here. So, and then, you know, Jericho goes to Vince and goes, "Oh, I'm getting AEW's offering me $1 million a year for 5 years. Like, is there anything you can do?" And Vince is like, "No." It's like, well, you absolutely could. You absolutely could. Like, you can maybe even bargain that, like, you know, we can give you like 800,000. Like, it won't be the same, but like we can maybe guarantee you that for the next 10 years after everything that you've done for us, because you've been WWE loyal. And then even you fucking harp back to like the fucking early days of his podcast, and he's said Lord knows how many times, "I will never wrestle in any wrestling ring that is not a WWE ring." And then that whole thing is evidently completely changed, because he's wrestled in New Japan and he's wrestled in AEW, and he's in AEW now.
Yeah, but I think the difference is, right, the reason that the New Japan thing even happened was because of Don Callis, who obviously he's very good friends with. I don't think Jericho realised how good the independent slash not WWE wrestling scene is. He's wrestled Kenny Omega in the Tokyo Dome and went, "Oh, that was actually quite good." He's then met the Bucks. Cody's probably in his ear as well, and he's like, "Oh, do you know what? Yeah, I'd like to do this." He then gets a stupid amount of money offered to him, and Vince won't match. Because Vince, I don't think there's anything wrong in that, because that does essentially say, "We do not see that value in you."
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Like, it's business. Like, it's not personal. Like, I'm sure it probably is personal.
It feels like it's personal on Jericho's side, definitely.
Yeah.
And
but
I mean, like, again, this is like, I mean, I know, like, you know, evidently we know Jericho's one of my favorite wrestlers, so I'm slightly taking his side a little, but this is that kind of thing of
Jericho's probably my top 5 all time favorite wrestlers.
But that's,
and I'm not disagreeing with what he's saying. Like, he feels undervalued or whatever. But that's fine. It's business. Just fucking move on. You're with that company now. Start giving 100% for them, which it has been, to be fair. But there's no need to be taking fucking shots over it, man.
Yeah, like, I mean,
go.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, like, in a nutshell, and we could go on for about another fucking 45 minutes, like, just talking about this, like. But I mean, like, again, like, yeah, that's the last thing I'll say about it is, like, yeah, like, he evidently felt like he was completely undervalued in WWE. That's why he done the New Japan thing. And you know what? He ended up having one of the best matches of his career. And I watched, like, this very short, like, 2-minute clip last night before I went to bed of him talking about that Kenny Omega match and how, like, that was the best match of his career. He got paid, like, a lot of money, and as soon as Chris Jericho was on the card against Kenny Omega, the New Japan subscriptions went up 250% in buys. And it's like, it is just kind of one of those things of, I can see why he thinks that WWE is doing him a bit dirty.
See, I don't, like, just very quickly, last thing I would say.
Yeah, and then we'll
move
on.
I don't agree with that. Like, that the WWE were underpaying him, and that's why he done the Kenny Omega match, right?
Done the bounce.
Yeah, right. I don't agree with that at all. Because he says that he never agreed to that until he spoke to Vince.
Mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised if Vince is thinking about sending Jericho to have that match was to get in Omega's ear about coming over. And then the opposite happened.
Didn't do a very good job about it.
Yeah, then the opposite happened.
Yeah. But let's move on.
Yes, swiftly.
Because we can continue doing this for a long ass time, believe me. And maybe we should some other time. But backstage, Tony Schiavone and Hangman Page. See, Tony Schiavone, that's a Jericho thing, a Jerichoism.
Yeah.
We're backstage. Tony asks Hangman, "How are you?" And Hangman's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a bit hurt." And this and that, and Shivani is pretty much like, don't give me that shit. You know what I mean when I'm asking this. I don't care about your well-being. I care about your mental being. Like, after what happened on Saturday with you losing the tag titles and then Kenny Omega essentially just walking away as you collapse in the middle of the ring. And, Hangman kind of talks about how he was stupid to turn on the Bucks, and he thought FTR were his buds, and he feels really bad about everything that's went down, and it kind of all boils down to like Hangman saying, "Yeah, I still want to tag with Kenny Omega. Hopefully, we can build ourselves up and get those tag titles back." And we'll find out what Kenny Omega thinks later on in the show.
Yep.
But coming up next is Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss versus Chris Jericho and Jake Hager in a no disqualification match, which was interesting because on commentary they continue to go on about how Sonny Kiss has absolutely no experience in, you know, this kind of environment, whereas Joey Janela is very comfortable in this environment. So it was that kind of thing of like,
it was a nice wee dynamic that
Yeah.
we had into it.
yeah, but it was also kind of nice in the way that it's like, well, they're not completely out of their element because Janela knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it's not like Jericho and Hager are exactly, you know, very well versed in the sort of like hardcore style.
Certainly not Hager, but there's an argument there. Jericho is at least knows what he's doing.
Yeah, potential. So, Kiss and Joey Janela double team Jericho. Take him out, and then like Sonny Kiss just turns around and wallops Hager on the fucking apron. This kind of also stems from the Battle Royal because Sonny Kiss did eliminate Jake Hager in the Battle Royal.
Yep.
There was a part where Janela ran up on the chair and kind of done the poetry in motion a la the Hardys. But, you know, as he kind of like jump off the steel chair kind of folded up and fell over. And Jericho sort of countered and sort of like, I think it was like a spine buster or like a backdrop or something along those lines. But the side of Janela hit the chair, which was kind of, you know, not good because it clearly was not meant to happen.
Mm-hmm.
There was the commercial, so I kind of skipped that bit. Like, when we came back, like, Hager and Jericho was setting up the table on the outside. Sonny Kiss did a nice drop salt to Hager, and then Sonny Kiss uses a trash can to the gut of Hager as he was going for the Hager bomb. There was a catapult from Jericho to Joey Janela. As he sails over, Hager catches and throws Janela through the table, like spinebuster style. So this was on the ramp, lack of a better term, area. Like, and then Hager throws Joey Janela off the side of the stage through the table. And then this is the part where Sonny Kiss has the 2-on-1 against the two Inner Circle members. And, you know, fuck me if he didn't do fucking awesome in this match.
Yeah.
Like, 2-on-1, he nearly fucking won the thing. Like, he took the two of them out, and he was setting up for that splits leg drop that he does from the top rope. But Jericho comes in with the extinguisher to the eyes, and then that allows the Big Heart to hit the Uranage, which is the rock bottom style maneuver,
Yep.
for the victory. But you know what? See, for that last couple of minutes, like, absolute fair fucks to Sonny Kiss. Like, he's really proving more of these past couple of weeks and months that he is something to like fucking like take seriously.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All started with his match with Corey.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
just continued to build momentum.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah. But after the match, Jericho announces his intentions to become tag team champions with Hager.
yeah.
which do you think could then potentially lead to a rift in the inner circle?
Yes. Because you had less X gods. Now the less X gods are done because it's J and J or whatever the fuck he says. Jericho and Jake.
I don't know.
Something along those lines.
I can't remember, but you got to think Sammy Guevara's maybe feeling a little bit pissed off at that.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, I mean, yeah, because like they were the other established tag team, and then even then you could be saying that Pride and Powerful could be against that as well. It's like, well, but
But we want the tag team titles.
Where the tag team of the Inner Circle?
Yeah. I think a Jericho face turn's coming. He's been kind of been alluded to in the last few weeks.
Guess we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
We'll let it pan out.
We've talked enough about Jericho in this episode.
Oh yeah. And believe that's me holding back. I still have so much more to say.
Yeah.
MJF was backstage with his campaign team, saying that the campaign was terrible and that was the reason he lost. He abused everybody, abused the cute smiley chick, fired everybody, but then he fired everybody, and then the gum guy stood up, handed him the what do you call it? Like the fucking canister or fucking thing of gum. MJF like angrily like took one and started chewing it and then threw it on the ground. And then Wardlow was like, sir, and then he's like, oh, so now it's sir. Now it's sir, yeah? After everything that you done on Saturday and you cost me the belt and then you flubbed the throwing of the ring and everything like that and just like completely tore Wardlow a new one. And then like Wardlow obviously started to...
Yeah, got in his face.
Yeah, he started to square up to him, like puffed out the old chest, and then MJF's like, oh, is that how it's going to be? Yeah. Well, I think you'll find that if you remember correctly, I pay your bills, I pay your checks, I sign your checks. Tony Khan doesn't. So I'm going to ask you again there, Wardlow. Do we have a problem? And then Wardlow's like, no, sir.
Yeah. If we do have a problem, I think his actual words were, if we do have a problem, I'll put you and your family on the street.
Yeah, something along those lines, yeah. There was a promo from Mox, pretty much says that he saw the Murder Hawk win, and he was like, son of a bitch, this doesn't get any easier.
I quite like that, man. He's laughing, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, because at that point he didn't even fucking wrestle MJF yet.
Yeah.
If you want to look at it in the actual kayfabe line of things, it pretty much says like, well, you know what? This isn't meant to get easier because I'm the AEW champion. It is never easy being the champion.
It's not easy being champ. It's not easy being the top of the pile. It's not easy holding on to the gold. But I'll never fold. I'll never let go of the AEW gold. Sorry. Because it's not easy being champ. Everyone wants to kick your ass. So you gotta just keep going. Got it, DDT there.
Ass.
Sorry.
Fucking hell, man. One more thing, you planned that?
I didn't.
I know you absolutely didn't. I can see it. You stopped and you were like, hold on a second, I've got a second verse.
You see my eyes going fucking on there. Do you think it works?
Come on, keep going. That's why you should get really into the freestyle game. I'm Chris Hughes here, and I'm here to say I'm going to beat your ass in the major way.
We drink a 10-inch can and
A 10 can, and you know I can. 10 more down, you know I'm the man.
Yeah. Sorry about that, guys. That was a little bit of a tangent there.
No, it wasn't. That was awesome. FTR were out with their tag team celebration. Tully Blanchard starts off the festivities by doing his own thing because Tully Blanchard, I'm sorry, 40 odd years in the business. I noted that he's awesome in the mic. Go figure. Huh. 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 Then my next note is Cash Wheeler developing a mullet?
Yes, I think he is. And I hope he keeps it.
Yeah. I mean, the only other mullet that we have in AEW is Brian Pillman Jr.'s, so...
Yeah.
Well...
Actually, technically not. Because you're going to have to include Thingman in that.
Griff.
Yeah.
Griff Garrison.
Yes. But also...
But his isn't technically a mullet. But also,
fuck, I'm quite drunk. Shit, how did
Are
this
you?
happen? I just did sing a swing song. About
yeah, I was
AEW
going to say,
champion.
when you started singing a swing song, I was like, huh, come on.
Fucking Evan Bourne, he fell off the top rope.
Oh, Matt Sydal.
That's out. He's got a fucking bullet as well, but he's
Yeah.
also not signed to a contract. If not signed to a contract, you can't count him.
True. Speaking of people that are not signed a contract, Matt Cardona, not signed to a contract, but he does have another Downstate song, which is very good. I've been listening to it a lot this week. It's a very good walking song. Well, obviously it's a wrestling theme. Of course, it's a good walking song. I forget where I was now. Yeah. So yes, mullet. Cash Wheeler has a mullet. And then Cash Wheeler talks about growing up and watching SCU. Her ringside is like, oh yeah, we grew up watching you. Could you imagine if you two were in your prime, like 20 years ago? You like use against FDR. Who would win? Who would know? And then he turns around and goes, and what can I say about Private Party? Oh, nothing. And then they just very, very quickly just turned around. That was it. That was perfect. Like, I mean, like, I love Private Party, but like they're like kind of on the same sort of level as we were talking about Jurassic Express now, with the way that you're not doing anything of importance, so why should I care?
Yeah.
Like, I like you guys, but you know, you just have been appearing on Dark more recently than you've been on fucking TV. So FTR say that Jurassic Express are going to face FTR next week in a non-title match, and if the Express win, then maybe they'll look in a title match in the future. So they start harassing them and then doing the whole, oh, look, Jungle Boy is a Tarzan cosplay, and look at this guy that pretends he's a dinosaur, and nah, 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 nah. And it's like, oh, look, it's all that stuff that they constantly get made fun of for being. Look at that shark guy with the fucking Rugrats pants. So, Jurassic Express, kind of surround the ring. They scare off the FTR, and then my favorite part is the fact that they eat their cake because they had the cake in the ring, and they just start eating their cake and just start giving cake to everybody. It's just like, no, fuck you, we're gonna eat your cake now. It's like, but we paid for that. It's like, no, but we're eating it.
Have your cake and eat it too. Oh my god. This is off topic. I keep going off topic tonight, but I just can't remember shit. I know you're a wee bit behind in the last podcast, but did you hear the episode a few weeks ago where Ben was explaining how he doesn't get that reference?
Have your
get
cake
that.
and eat it too.
Yeah.
No, do tell.
He's like, I don't understand it. And, and then Henry and Marcus are like, it's because you can't have both. You either have the cake or you eat it. And I was like, I even think that was when I clicked it. I was like, yeah, it does make sense. And he's like, but I want to have cake and eat it. And they're like, that's it. He's like, but it's not. It's have your cake and eat it. And it fucking went on for like 10 minutes to eventually Marcus is like, Henry, you're, sorry, he's like, he's like, Ben, you are never going to understand this. Let's just move on. It's like, but you can't have your cake and eat it, because if you have it, you can't eat it. If you eat it, you don't have it.
But if I buy a cake, I can have it. So I
Yeah,
will
but the
have
whole
my
point-
cake.
The whole point is to have the cake, but then eat it, but also have it.
But I did have it.
Yeah, but if you eat it, therefore you no longer have it, because you've eaten it. So it's like you want the best of both worlds.
So you would always have the cake,
Yes.
but you also want to eat the cake.
Yes. So it's like even like when I was explained to me on that, I was like, yeah, I do get it now. But Ben just was not getting this, man. Check it out. I can't remember what episode it is. You'll get to it eventually.
Check it out.
It's fucking hilarious.
That
man.
was an unintentional Stardom reference from you. Well done.
Maybe it was intentional. Maybe I've been lying to you all these years.
See if you like if you watched Stardom for years and never told me. That would just be the most rotten thing in the fucking world.
Yeah, probably, to be fair.
Like, because I've been searching for so long to fucking talk to something about Stardom with, just because it's like one of my fucking geeky extra wrestling things that I do. And then you're just like, well, actually, I thought that when Tony Storm beat Mayu Iwatani in 2 minutes when Mayu got injured was actually the best Stardom match, and it was like, what? That was like before I started watching. Tony Storm was actually Stardom World Champion at one point.
Yes, even I knew that, yes.
But nevertheless, that is for turning Japanese.
Yes.
Maybe sometime you can join.
It's probably a bit out of kayfabe message here. It's currently 9:30 p.m. on Saturday night.
Saturday night.
Grizzlies ran out of booze and the off license is shut in half an hour. So let's get through this fucker.
Okay. Coming up next, Taz Jones' commentary is Darby Starks comes out. Starks says, "Are you reckless or are you relentless?" in terms of Darby Allin, because Darby is not on TV at the moment. And he says, "Next time you show up, I will relentlessly beat Darby's ass." After that,
Woo! Sorry.
some people call me the Space Cowboy. Tay Conti, her first official AEW match, because she has signed her contract.
Got fucking injured, but let's not talk about that.
Injured?
Yeah.
She got injured in this match?
Yeah.
Well, that's something I
She
missed.
wasn't selling that knee.
Oh dear.
But it's apparently not too bad and she won't be out that long. But
Well,
Tay Conti makes me happy. That makes me happy to be a wrestling fan. Because Tay Conti is so talented and so fucking beautiful.
she so is.
But,
She really is talented, though. But
Yeah.
she is very, very, very beautiful. Like, but she's one of those girls that's like, you know, like, she is good. She's good looking. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like, there's different, like, levels of girls.
Mhm.
Like, she's like very attractive, like very good looking, but I wouldn't say she's like sexy. Like, I say like Mandy Rose is like sexy, attractive, but whereas like Tay Conti is like very stunningly attractive. Like they're very different in my eyes.
I kind of get what you mean. I don't think you worded that.
I'm not doing
particularly
it in a very good
but
way.
I kind of get what you mean. But yeah, Tay Conti is going to be the future ex Mrs. Hughes if I have my way.
And then the future ex Mrs. Grizz probably before that, because
I'm
I don't take a sloppy shop.
Oh, thank fuck you said it, and not me. So yeah, that match happened.
Yep,
obviously.
Nyla demolished Tay Conti early. Tay Conti had a couple of things at the outside. Holler! If you hear me!
Yay! Can you believe I live beside a police station? Who would have thought?
What? Then Tay Conti had a couple of outside fight backs with the sending Nyla into the barricade, then at the ring post. Tay Conti tried a sunset flip when she got back in the ring, but it was hit with a choke slam. Tay Conti managed to hit the armbar on Nyla, which was she had on for a little while, but then Nyla managed to win with the powerbomb counter, kind of off of that submission, and then Shida comes in to save Conti from a second powerbomb. Then we go backstage with JR interviewing Kenny Omega. JR asks what's next for Kenny Omega, and Kenny Omega essentially says the exact opposite of what Hangman Page said earlier. He says, I've done the tag team thing. I've done that for nearly a year. I've been tag team champions. I've held gold. That's all great. But now I think it's time for Kenny to get back into the singles division. As we mentioned earlier, Moxley vs. Archer is set for the mid-October show. The main event was Brody Lee versus Dustin Rhodes for the TNT Championship. So, during the entrances, as Brody Lee was getting his entrance and kind of doing his old twisty moustache thing, Dustin jumps him. And it's a fight to the outside, kind of around the outside part of the ring. And then we kind of skip ahead a wee bit because not really that much was happening. It was kind of Dustin on offense, but the one major highlight of this match was swig a beer for the working man. Was the that Dustin had a very almost picture perfect Hurricanrana. Like Jesus, who would have thought? Like, you look at people like John Cena that try to hit Hurricanranas and they look fucking horrendous. But this one was pretty fucking... Sorry.
Get hell, man.
I unintentionally kicked the fucking table. This one looked almost picture perfect. Like, in terms of how Hurricanranas go. Then he hit the Yoshi Tonic, which is the flipping sunset flip. Crossroads for 2. Then John Silver tries to dive in, and he was meant to dive into the atomic drop from Dustin, which he completely whiffed because he was nowhere near it. But he sold anyway. There was a pile driver by Dustin for 2 as Lee gets to the bottom rope. Then the end of the match came where Brody Lee hit 2 thrust kicks, then the spinning clothesline and retains. And then, to end the night, Colt Cabana leads the Dark Order out to celebrate. And then as soon as Brody Lee sees Colt Cabana, he like kind of pie faces him and throws him out the ring. And then he kicks Dustin Rhodes in the nards. So he's still raging at Colt Cabana. And then also...
How does that feel, Dustin? Been fucking doing that for years.
He did that during the match, actually. So, yeah, there you go.
Colt Karma, bitch.
Colt Karma?
It's Colt
Karma?
Yeah, okay, that
Colt Karma. Well, riveting stuff indeed.
Yes, absolutely. It was good to see Dustin get a title match. Good to see him have a good run in that title match as well.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting the fact that like Dustin is that got more offense on Brody Lee than Cody ever did. So, a very interesting kind of parallel.
But I think you could also argue that Dustin maybe had also seen what happened to Cody and was a bit better prepared than Cody was.
Maybe that's why like jumping Brody to begin with.
Yeah.
Maybe in the the best idea.
Yeah, yeah. So, should we wrap this shindig up, go get some more booze, and then get shit-faced?
Let's see. Yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, a little bit of bubbly, a little bit of the OJ.
We're going to be really struggling to get that, but if we go now, we'll probably get it.
Just do
So, on that note, I have been Chris motherfucking Hughes.
I've been the Grizz.
Ho!
See?
Yo.
Later.
Remember, you can follow us on Twitter and Facebook at Heel Podcast. And also, don't forget, you can hear our archives on the World Wide Web at heelpodcast.co.uk. Well, that's all, folks. So long. Have a good day.